Chapter 32:14. After an hour, Lu Ming had killed dozens of battle beasts. However, the color of his battle suit didn't darken much. That was because the battle beasts he had killed along the way were all at the half-step king god realm. Am I at the edge? I haven't encountered any of the others. The battle beasts are all low level. As for the battle tower, I haven't even seen a hair of it. Lu Ming was speechless. He suddenly sped up, dashing forward. He didn't even care about the battle beasts at the half-step king god realm. Not long after, a furious roar was heard. A giant battle beast dashed toward Lu Ming with a powerful aura. A king god realm battle beast. Lu Ming's eyes brightened. A spear light shot out from his finger, flying forward. The battle beast at the first layer of the king god realm exploded, turning into a flow of battle chi and entering Lu Ming's body. The color of the battle suit on his body suddenly deepened. A king god realm battle beast can provide more battle chi. Lu Ming smiled. From now on, the number of king god realm battle beasts increased. These battle beasts couldn't threaten Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming went on a killing spree. 2 hours later, when Lu Ming had killed 2 more king god realm battle beasts, his battle suit emitted a dazzling light. Its color changed, turning into an orange battle suit. However, the color was light, just a light orange. Lu Ming gave it a try and discovered that the orange combat suit was indeed much more effective in increasing his combat power than the red combat suit. Let's continue. Lu Ming smiled and continued his journey of hunting beasts. However, after the battle suit reached the orange level, it was harder to upgrade it. In the next 2 days, Lu Ming had killed more than 100 first layer of the king god realm battle beasts. However, his battle suit didn't upgrade. Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes brightened. A tall tower appeared in front of him. Lu Ming flew over. It's the battle tower. Lu Ming was delighted. According to the imperial tutor, the battle chi provided by the battle tower was much higher than the battle beasts. Destroying a battle tower could provide a lot of battle chi. Lu Ming didn't hesitate. He directly flew over and shot out his spear, sweeping the stage. Boom. The fighting stage shook violently, but it didn't shatter. This battle tower is really tough. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His spear strike just now had an absolutely astonishing power, but it still hadn't shattered the battle tower. Then Lu Ming fired a few more shots. Although the battle tower shook violently, it still didn't shatter. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt a murderous intent enveloping him. He subconsciously executed the 9 Heavens Garuda technique and left the place in a flash. Clang. A beam of sword light passed through the place where he had been standing and bombarded the battle tower, causing it to shake again. Lu Ming's gaze swept to the side like lightning. A black-robed young man stepped through the air. You're Lu Ming, right? This battle tower is mine. Now get lost. The black-robed young man waved his hand and said. This young man was also wearing an orange battle suit. His cultivation level was the same as Lu Ming's. I seem to be the one who discovered this battle tower first. Lu Ming said indifferently. So what if you discovered it? It's mine now. If you don't want to get lost, your battle chi will also be mine. The black-robed young man's eyes were filled with murderous intent. In the second round, although Lu Ming had displayed great talent, his cultivation level wasn't high. He was only in the first heaven of the king god realm. As for the black-robed young man, he was only in the second heaven of the king god realm and had awakened his divine origin force factor once. He didn't take Lu Ming seriously at all. Clang. The black-robed young man merged with his sword and turned into a dazzling beam of sword light, attacking Lu Ming. However, in the next moment, the beam of sword light shattered and the black-robed young man appeared. His eyes were wide open and filled with disbelief. His chest was pierced by a spear. Get out! Lu Ming said in a low voice. His spear shook and the black-robed young man's body was torn into pieces. However, at this moment, runes appeared in the void and covered the black-robed young man's corpse. In a flash it disappeared. In the next moment, the black-robed young man's body appeared in the sphere outside of this world. His face was filled with fear. He couldn't even withstand one attack from Lu Ming and was killed. He got killed so quickly. He must have met some expert. Some people looked at the black-robed young man. More than 10,000 people had entered the battle tower. There were only a few thousand projections in the sky. They couldn't capture everything. Previously, the projection didn't show the scene of Lu Ming killing the black-robed young man. The black-robed young man harumphed coldly. He didn't say anything and flew to the side to watch the battle. In the spherical world, after Lu Ming killed the youth in black, a majestic battle aura flowed into his battle suit. The battle suit on his body shone brightly at once. Although it was still an orange battle suit, it was a deep orange color. The color was a lot richer than before. Killing other people really did give him half of their battle chi. If his battle suit was upgraded to blue or purple, then how much battle chi would he get from killing someone? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Then he thought of a plan. Looks like I'll have to change my plan. Lu Ming muttered and then continued to attack the battle tower. After Lu Ming attacked over 100 times, the battle tower finally exploded. It turned into a majestic energy that rushed toward Lu Ming and gathered on his battle suit. Lu Ming's battle suit's color became even richer. It was incomparably resplendent. The change in quantity led to a change in quality. His battle suit's color finally changed to yellow. It had become a yellow battle armor. Lu Ming smiled. This battle tower's battle chi was truly astonishing. It was a lot more than the battle chi provided by the black-robed young man. Lu Ming tried the enhancement of the yellow armor. He then left the place and continued to hunt for battle beasts. There's a bunch of them over there. Not long after, Lu Ming found a valley where a bunch of battle beasts had gathered. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He immediately attacked. Brr. Suddenly, a terrifying roar came from the valley. A powerful aura rushed out from the valley, covering the sky and covering the earth. It's a 7th King God Layer cultivator. Run! Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. He turned around and ran. There was a 7th King God Layer battle beast here. With Lu Ming's current strength, he would definitely die if he encountered such a battle beast. Luckily, the battle beast didn't chase after him. Lu Ming smoothly escaped. It seems like the battle beasts in this world aren't easy to kill. There are some terrifying existences here. Lu Ming thought. A 7th King God Layer battle beast was definitely invincible among the geniuses this time. In fact, it was true. In this world, there weren't only 7th King God Layer battle beasts, there were also Peak King God Layer battle beasts. Some people were unlucky enough to encounter such a battle beast and were sent out of this world. Next, Lu Ming was more careful and continued to hunt for combat beasts. Chapter 32:15. In the blink of an eye, 1.5 months had passed. After 1.5 months of hunting and battling with other geniuses, Lu Ming was now wearing a cyan battle suit. The cyan battle suit could increase Lu Ming's combat strength by a lot. Lu Ming's strength had increased by a lot. At this time, the competition was getting more intense. Lu Ming encountered more geniuses. Once they met, they would fight. Boom, boom. Lu Ming was flying when he suddenly heard a loud explosion in the distance. Apparently, there was a battle going on. Lu Ming flew over and saw a huge battle tower standing between the heavens and the earth. What a huge battle tower! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The battle tower in front of him was bigger than any of the battle towers that Lu Ming had encountered. According to Lu Ming's experience, the bigger the battle tower, the more battle chi it would provide. At this moment, several groups of geniuses were fighting for the battle tower. It's him. Lu Ming saw a familiar face at first glance. The last of the 4 heroes of the Jin family, Jin Dun. He was fighting fiercely with the others. Jin Dun's cultivation was at the 3rd King God realm. He had awakened the divine origin force factor once, so he was very strong. However, the other geniuses were not weak either. After dozens of moves, there was no clear winner. They all retreated and distanced themselves from each other. They faced each other. In my opinion, we should attack this battle tower together. Whoever is lucky enough to be the last one to break the tower will be able to obtain the battle chi. Otherwise, if we keep fighting, we won't be able to determine a winner, and will even attract other geniuses. A young man suggested. The others nodded. It was the only way. The battle tower was not that easy to destroy. Only the last one to break the tower would get the battle chi. They could only rely on their luck now. You don't have to discuss it. We want this battle tower. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. 2 black lights flashed and 2 black-robed young men appeared not far away. The 2 black-robed young men emitted wisps of cold aura. Jianghu Heavenly King Mansion. Jin Dun's face turned serious. The 2 black-robed young men behind him were from the abysmal Heavenly King Mansion. The people from the 9 Serenities Heavenly King Mansion had strange attacking methods. Everyone else was wary of them. You want to monopolize this battle tower? With just the 2 of you, I'm afraid you can't do it. One of the Sky Pride said coldly. Really? One of the geniuses from the abysmal Heavenly King Mansion charged at the young man like a ghost. Tornado kick. The young man shouted as he took several steps forward. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind appeared between heaven and earth, sweeping towards the genius of Jianghu Heavenly King Mansion. The gale sliced through the air, emitting a terrifying whistling sound. Without even looking, one could tell that this gale had a terrifying destructive power. However, the prodigy of the abysmal heavenly king mansion moved quickly. When the wind slashed his body twisted rapidly and the destructive force of the wind was negated. After a few flashes, the nine nether heavenly king mansion's genius arrived in front of the young man and grabbed him with his ghostly claw. The young man's expression changed, and his leg lashed out like a long whip. Boom. The two of them exchanged blows. In the end, the young man's body shook violently and he was forced to retreat. His face turned pale and he almost vomited blood. The nine nether heavenly king mansion's genius was at the same realm as him. They were both in the third layer of the king god realm and had awakened their origin divine force. This meant that their strength was on par with each other. However, the prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion had the upper hand when they exchanged blows. After gaining the upper hand, the prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion attacked ferociously. Ghostly shadows appeared, wailing and howling. Ghostly chi filled the sky. The prodigy was no match for the prodigy. After a dozen blows, the prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion landed a blow on his chest, almost piercing through his heart. The young man coughed out blood and retreated rapidly. Countless people outside also saw this scene. Humph! Someone harumphed coldly. He was the elder of the injured young man. Even more people had grave expressions on their faces. The nine nether heavenly king mansion's attacks were strange. They could directly affect one's soul. Few people of the same level could be their match. Most of the people from the nine nether heavenly king mansion were afraid of them. There were also many experts from the nine nether heavenly king mansion present. They sneered and looked smug. In the spherical world, after the prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion injured his opponent, he continued to attack his opponent. Obviously, he wanted to kill his opponent completely. Everyone, are you just going to watch the show? After he kills me, he'll kill all of you. We'll take you down one by one. The young man roared. Jean Dunn and the others' faces darkened. After looking at each other, they dashed toward the prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion. The prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion turned into a cloud of ghostly mist and retreated quickly to meet up with another prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion. Jean Dunn and the others also gathered together and stared at the prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion cautiously. The few of them who were fighting a while ago had joined forces now. The prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion was giving them too much pressure. Both sides were in a standoff and no one made a move. It seems like a stalemate has formed. I don't have that much time to waste, Lu Ming muttered. He had been hiding in the dark to observe. Initially, he wanted to wait until both sides were injured before making a move. That way he could easily occupy the battle tower. Now it seemed unrealistic. Lu Ming stepped out and walked toward the battle tower. As soon as he walked out, he immediately attracted everyone's attention. Not only the two prodigies of the nine nether heavenly king mansion, Jean Dunn and the rest, but also many people outside. Although there were exciting battles everywhere, there were still many people who noticed this projection. Is that kid Lu Ming? The people of the Jean family revealed a trace of coldness. Jean Dunn appeared in the projection. The Jean family members had naturally been paying attention to the projection. Lu Ming. The others from the nine nether heavenly king mansion were also paying attention to the projection. Their faces changed and no one knew what they were thinking. As for Wu Zifeng, Yu Linglong and the others who were close to Lu Ming, they revealed worried looks. Jean Dunn of the four prodigies of the Jean family was much stronger than the other three prodigies. He was not that easy to deal with. Moreover, there were other experts. Is that kid? The kid whose comprehension is comparable to Di Jenny in the second round. In addition, many people also noticed this side. After seeing Lu Ming, they revealed a curious look. They wanted to know how outstanding Lu Ming's performance in the second round was. How strong was his actual combat power? Lu Ming walked step by step toward the battle tower. He was still far away and a few terrifying auras had locked onto him. Lu Ming. Jean Dunn whispered. His eyes were cold and murderous. Lu Ming from the nine nether heavenly king mansion. It's that kid who killed the prodigy of the nine nether heavenly king mansion. The two prodigies from the nine nether heavenly king mansion whispered. The cold ghost aura kept churning and emitting a terrifying sound. Chapter 32:16. Cold murderous intents fell on Lu Ming, but Lu Ming ignored them and continued to walk forward. He said, You guys are dawdling here. It seems like you don't want the battle tower anymore. If that's the case, then give the battle tower to me. This brat wants the battle tower? Ah, has he lost his mind? A sky pride from the nine serenities heavenly king mansion sneered. Stop dreaming. Everyone, I have a grudge with this person, so I'll deal with him. I hope you won't interfere. Jin Dun said. The reason why he said that was because he was afraid that he would be ambushed when he made his move. Don't worry, after you finish him off, we'll discuss how to divide this battle tower. One of the 9 Serenities Heavenly King Mansion's Sky Pride said coldly. Bang. As soon as he said that, Jin Dun took a step forward and closed in on Lu Ming. Lu Ming, although I can't really kill you here, I can still get some interest. Tell me, how do you want to die? Jin Dun coldly spoke. His body emitted a resplendent light. His palms shone with a pure golden light. You talk too much. Kill. Lu Ming was too lazy to talk nonsense with his opponent. With a loud shout, he continuously punched out with his fists. Roar, roar, roar! Dense dragon roars resounded in all directions. 36 divine dragon Laksana emerged and rushed toward Jin Dun. Lu Ming now controlled 10 types of divine-grade divine powers, especially after the golden dragon divine power had been transformed into the primordial dragon power. The power of the divine dragon aspect technique had also increased by a level. In addition, the battle symbol art had quadrupled his battle prowess, as well as the 8 types of origin god force factors. His sovereign's god force had already undergone a second awakening. With so many factors combined, the power was terrifying. A blood-curdling scream was heard before it was drowned out by the sound of the explosion. When the sound of the explosion disappeared, Jin Dun was seen floating in midair, his body twitching non-stop. Blood kept flowing out of his mouth. It was as miserable as it could be. The geniuses of the Abysmal Heavenly King Palace and a few other geniuses were astounded. Jin Dun was dealt with so quickly? The people who were watching the battle from the outside were also stunned. This was completely different from what they had expected. Some people thought that Lu Ming would be suppressed by Jin Dun. Even if there were a few people who thought that Lu Ming could win, it would at least be an intense battle. What was this? The beginning represented the end? How could this be? The lips of the Jin family's patriarch and the Jin family's experts kept trembling. Jin Dun was the strongest warrior of the young generation of the Jin family. He was young, but he had reached the 3rd king god realm. He was the leader of the 4 heroes of the Jin family. The Jin family had high hopes for him. Originally, he thought that Jin Dun would be able to avenge Jin Xing, Jin Yuan, and the others. Who would have thought that he would be beaten up so badly by Lu Ming? Good, brother, Lu Ming's ability has improved greatly. This is really worth celebrating. Wu Zifeng clapped his hands and laughed, almost making the experts of the Jin clan vomit blood. What did it mean to be congratulated? Happy Mother*****. Whoosh. At this moment, Lu Ming condensed a giant hand with his god Qi and grabbed Jin Dun. You're so arrogant with this little strength. What 4 heroes of the Jin family? You're just a bunch of good-for-nothings. I'll send you out. As soon as Lu Ming finished speaking, a powerful energy exploded and bombarded Jin Dun. With a bang, Jin Dun's body exploded. Then runes filled the air. A moment later, Jin Dun's figure appeared outside the spherical world. Damn it! Damn it! Jin Dun roared, but his eyes were also filled with fear. This time he was lucky that they were in the spherical world. If they were in another place, he would have been killed by Lu Ming just like the other 3-4 heroes of the Jin family. After killing Jin Dun's battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's cyan battle armor shone even brighter. Absorbing battle chi like this is really cool. Lu Ming smiled. When he looked at the other geniuses, his eyes were burning. Why aren't you getting lost? Do you want to die too? Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, we've indeed underestimated you. I didn't expect your strength to have reached this level. Even so, if we want to kill you, you'll die without a doubt. A genius from the Abysmal Heavenly Mansion said coldly. Then, 2 geniuses from the Abysmal Heavenly Mansion rushed toward Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming was strong, they were not afraid. The Abysmal Heavenly Mansion's cultivation method was strange. It could affect the soul and had always been able to defeat the strong. Moreover, there were 2 of them. The 2 of them rushed toward Lu Ming like 2 ghosts. Waves of ghost fog appeared and shrouded Lu Ming. At the same time, ghost claws grabbed at Lu Ming. On the side, the other geniuses' eyes flickered. They also attacked at the same time. Their target was still Lu Ming. The green battle suit on Lu Ming's body was extremely rich in color. At a glance, one could tell that it contained a large amount of battle chi. If they could kill Lu Ming, they would obtain a large amount of battle chi. It would definitely be more than the battle chi of a battle tower. Therefore they attacked together. They wanted to rely on their numbers to get rid of Lu Ming. Just in time. Lu Ming shouted coldly. His body swelled rapidly as he displayed the ancient god body. He turned into a green-armored ancient god and swept out his spear. The two geniuses from the abysmal heavenly mansion bore the brunt of the attack and were engulfed by the spear radiance. Boom! The attacks from both sides collided. At the moment of collision, a strange energy rushed into Lu Ming's body from the attack of the ninth heavenly king mansion, wanting to bombard Lu Ming's soul. However, Lu Ming's soul was protected by the frightening feather painting and was completely fine. The soul attack had no effect on Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming's combat strength was still as terrifying as ever. The two geniuses from the abysmal heavenly mansion were horrified. They quickly retreated and their auras weakened. How can you not be affected? The two geniuses from the abysmal heavenly mansion shouted in disbelief. Kill? Lu Ming did not bother to talk nonsense with them. He shook his long spear and continuously displayed the space-piercing move. In an instant, dozens of spear radiances shot out and enveloped the two geniuses from the abysmal heavenly mansion. In addition, a few other geniuses were also within the range of the spear radiances. A total of 5 young men were killed by Lu Ming before they could even let out a scream. 5 balls of rich battle chi flew into Lu Ming's body and merged with Lu Ming's body. The color of Lu Ming's battle suit became even richer. Lu Ming felt that it was not far from evolving into a blue battle suit. I should be able to upgrade to a blue battle suit after destroying this battle tower. Lu Ming smiled and attacked the battle tower. Not long after, the battle tower exploded and turned into a rich battle chi that merged with Lu Ming's battle suit. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's combat suit emitted a dazzling glow. Afterward, the color of the combat suit that was extremely rich began to change. It turned blue. A light blue battle suit covered Lu Ming's body. A blue battle suit. Very good. My strength has increased by a lot. Lu Ming smiled. Chapter 32:17. After feeling the effects of the battle armor on his body, Lu Ming looked around and said, "You still haven't appeared? How long are you going to wait?" As soon as Lu Ming's voice fell, the surrounding auras fluctuated. Haha, looks like you've already noticed. A sneer sounded, and then 2 young men stepped out from the right side of Lu Ming. At the same time, 3 young men stepped out from behind Lu Ming. The people on the right and the back were clearly from 2 different factions. You've already arrived, right? You haven't made a move because you want to reap the benefits. Lu Ming said indifferently. That's right, now all the battle chi is gathered on you. As long as we kill you, we can get half of your battle chi. Isn't that very convenient? On the right, a burly young man spoke. This young man was extremely tall, with a stocky back and a bare waist. He was a bear man. You're very confident. Lu Ming said. I have to admit that your strength is beyond my expectations. Your strength should be about the same as mine. Unfortunately, you're alone while we have so many people. The bear man young man said. About the same as you? Ah. Lu Ming chuckled and did not explain further. Ikuan, let's attack together. Let's see who's lucky enough to kill him. The bearman young man looked at the 3 young men behind Lu Ming. These 3 young men had a layer of scales on their arms, and their eyes flickered with a ferocious light, full of wildness. They were the prodigies of the bearman race. The Taishu sacred dynasty had a boundless territory and occupied countless planets with life. There were many races within it. Although they were all small races except for the Bone Sword race, which had once been ranked on the primitive race list, none of the other races had entered the list. The Bearman race and the Bearman race were such races. Okay, let's attack together. Ikuan spoke and took a step forward, closing in on Lu Ming. At the same time, the 2 young men of the Bearman race also pressed towards Lu Ming, releasing powerful auras. Experts, they were all experts. Among them, the aura of the leader of the bear race in Ikuan was the most terrifying. His cultivation base was at the 3rd king god realm, but he was emitting an ancient, desolate aura. Origin Divine Power Factor, 2nd Awakening. Lu Ming immediately sensed the opponent's approximate strength. This time, let's see how Lu Ming deals with it. Outside someone spoke. 3rd king god realm, and he has awakened the god origin twice. This kind of force is the best among all the young geniuses this time. He is only second to the 10 young geniuses of the Holy Metropolis. That's right. Can Lu Ming handle 2 geniuses of this level? At this moment, even more people's gazes were focused on Lu Ming and the others' projections, revealing looks of curiosity. Inside the sphere, the bear youths were the first to attack. Their leader was called Xiong Bao. With a roar, his body transformed into a giant bear that was dozens of meters tall. Although he wasn't as tall as Lu Ming's ancient god body, his aura was still extremely terrifying. Boom! Xiong Bao slapped at Lu Ming. A giant bear paw covered the sky, pressing down on Lu Ming. At the same time, Yi Kuan and the others also attacked. Several crocodile tails with dense scales lashed out at Lu Ming, causing the air to explode. Divine Power Dharma Image. Lu Ming punched out, causing dragon roars to resound. He directly condensed 36 divine dragon images that rushed towards Yi Kuan and the others, temporarily blocking their attacks. Above Lu Ming's head, an ancient stone gate appeared. The Sovereign's Gate. Lu Ming grabbed the Sovereign's Gate and smashed it at Xiong Bao. The Sovereign's Gate smashed into Xiong Bao's paw. Xiong Bao screamed miserably as his paw exploded, blood and flesh splattering everywhere. Origin's Secret Technique. Xiong Bao screamed miserably and retreated, wanting to escape. However, Lu Ming quickly followed, and the Sovereign's Gate continued to press down. Boom. Xiong Bao's body directly exploded, and he died on the spot. It wasn't just him. The other bear race's genius beside Xiong Bao also exploded, dying on the spot. Retreat, retreat, retreat. Yi Kuan and the others turned pale with fright. They crazily retreated, almost scared out of their wits. Don't you think it's too late to retreat now? Lu Ming icily said. The Sovereign's Gate became 30,000 meters large and pressed down on Yi Kuan and the others. The Sovereign's Gate released a powerful suction force that enveloped Yi Kuan and the others, causing their speed to sharply drop. Following that, the Sovereign's Gate continued to press down. Bang. Yi Kuan might have done his best to block, but he was still unable to withstand a single blow. His body was directly torn apart. Following that, the Sovereign's Gate once more pressed down, and the other two bear race's geniuses also died. In just a short while, Lu Ming had killed 5 experts. Xiong Bao and Yi Kuan's battle chi was especially shocking. Lu Ming had absorbed half of it, and Lu Ming's light blue battle robes began to turn darker. Just one more wave of battle chi and it'll be enough. I can't absorb too much. Lu Ming pondered. He had his own plans. If he absorbed too much battle chi now, it would affect his plans. Lu Ming soared into the air and left. Outside, an uproar had already broken out. Countless people were shocked by Lu Ming's strength. Lu Ming had actually been able to easily kill experts like Yi Kuan and Xiong Bao. It had to be known that such an expert was only second to the Holy Capital's 10 greats. He could be ranked second. Didn't that mean Lu Ming's strength could already be ranked first? If Lu Ming's cultivation base was also at the 3rd heaven stage of the God King realm, then it would be fine. But Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at the 1st heaven stage of the God King realm. That was terrifying. Some people were shocked, some were impressed, some were jealous, and some were pensive. Not bad. A dignified voice came from the 9 dragons pulling the war chariot. It was the Sage Emperor. The Sage Emperor had spoken again. Countless people revealed envious expressions. The Sage Emperor's words were clearly praising Lu Ming. Clearly, Lu Ming had attracted the Sage Emperor's attention. The Sage Emperor had lived for who knew how long, and he had seen countless heavenly geniuses. It was extremely rare for him to praise someone. Every time the Taishu Sacred Academy opened, there were very few people who received such treatment. Most of the time there was not even one. Regardless of what everyone was thinking, the battle in the spherical world was still ongoing. Some people were constantly looking for battle beasts to kill, slowly accumulating battle chi. As for those with stronger cultivation bases, they no longer hunted battle beasts. Instead, they focused on other people, especially those with high-grade battle robes. They were often the target of many people. For example, Lu Ming had been besieged by several groups of people in just a few days. The main reason was that the color of his battle robes was too eye-catching. Wherever he went, the blue light would spread far and wide. How much battle chi did a blue battle robe contain? Naturally, it would attract people's attention. But in the end, those people all turned into battle chi and were absorbed by Lu Ming. Chapter 32:18. Lu Ming stood at the peak of a mountain, a cold smile hanging at the corners of his lips. He could clearly sense that not far behind him, there was a group of people following him in the dark. Evidently they had their eyes on Lu Ming. I don't mind taking your battle chi if you're stupid enough to come and seek your death. Lu Ming smiled and sat cross-legged on the mountain peak. He closed his eyes and started to cultivate. There was still more than a month to go. Lu Ming didn't want to waste any time. This kid is cultivating here instead of hunting for battle beasts to increase his battle chi. Strange. Someone from the group of people who were hiding in the dark said curiously. I guess he thinks his battle chi is enough. Should we take action? A few of them were discussing. Wait a minute. This person can upgrade his battle suit to blue. He's not ordinary. Let's wait a little longer. The leader of the group said. Could he be an expert? I think he's only in King God Realm First Heaven. No matter how strong he is, he can't be that strong. Another person said. No matter what, it's better to be safe than sorry. Let's wait a little longer. The leader of the group was more cautious. What they did not know was that in another direction, there was also a group of people approaching Lu Ming. They were hiding in the dark and observing. Evidently, they were attracted by Lu Ming's blue battle suit. This group of people was also more cautious and didn't rush to take action. Not long after, whoosh, whoosh, in the distant sky, a few rainbows flew over rapidly and landed in the sky not far away from Lu Ming. Lu Ming. A cold voice was heard. Lu Ming opened his eyes and a cold light flashed across his eyes. Blue Maple. One of the few youths that came later was Blue Maple. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to upgrade your battle suit to blue rank. This is beyond my expectations. Blue Maple said with a murderous look in his eyes. Wu Fan isn't with you? Lu Ming asked. I can still kill you without Wu Fan. You escaped last time. Let's see how you can escape this time. Blue Maple's voice was extremely cold. His killing intent towards Lu Ming was incomparably strong. In his opinion, Lu Ming's God Power Source bead should be his, but it was swallowed by Lu Ming himself. It was simply a waste of heaven's treasures. If he did not kill Lu Ming, he would not be able to vent the hatred in his heart. Blue Maple didn't know that the members of the Lan family were all very displeased when they saw this scene. They wanted nothing more than to shout at Blue Maple and ask him to run. They had seen Lu Ming's fighting strength before. He was definitely at the peak of the second tier, and could even be considered first tier. Blue Maple was definitely not a match for Lu Ming. Unfortunately, they could only be anxious. There were also people who were very anxious. They were the two groups of people hiding in the dark. Oh no, it's Blue Maple. Although Blue Maple hasn't awakened his origin secret technique, the secret techniques that he cultivates are still very powerful. Don't let him beat us to it. Let's make a move too. Otherwise, if Blue Maple makes a move, that kid will be dead for sure. We won't have a share of the loot. Let's go. The two groups of people couldn't wait any longer. They were afraid that Blue Maple would beat them to it and kill Lu Ming. They wouldn't have a share of such a dense battle aura. They couldn't help but rush out. Suddenly, three groups of people appeared in three different directions of the mountain peak, surrounding Lu Ming in the middle. Blue Maple's eyes flashed coldly. Apparently, he didn't expect there to be so many people around him. Since you're all here, let's make a move. After killing all of you, I still need to cultivate. Lu Ming said indifferently. He looked as if he didn't put Blue Maple and the others in his eyes. Blue Maple was so angry that he wanted to laugh. Arrogant and ignorant. Blue Maple made his move immediately. A bright blue sword gleam slashed toward Lu Ming. Its power was terrifying. Now, Lu Ming could feel that Blue Maple's cultivation was also in the third heaven of the King God realm. He had awakened his origin divine power factor twice. When they were in the 9 extinction heavenly king palace, Lu Ming couldn't resist such strength. But now, let's go. Don't let Blue Maple beat us to it. When the other two groups of people saw Blue Maple making a move, they became anxious and attacked one after another. The leaders of the two groups of people were extremely powerful and belonged to the second tier. Otherwise, they wouldn't have dared to compete with Blue Maple. Let's get rid of them together. Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly as the Gate of Domination appeared above his head. The Gate of Domination shook and a terrifying power burst out, destroying the attacks around him. Kill. The Gate of Domination attacked one of the groups of people. Bam. The leader of the group was killed by the Gate of Domination and died on the spot. After killing him, the Gate of Domination turned and attacked the leader of the other group of people. That prodigy didn't even have time to react before he was killed by the Sovereign's Gate with ease. Blue Maple's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Those two were elites who were on par with him. However, they were unable to put up any resistance in Lu Ming's hands and were killed directly. How could this be? Back in the 9 extinction heavenly king residence, Lu Ming was just a piece of trash that he could kill easily. How many years had it been? How could he have reacted so quickly? Run. The remaining two groups of youths were scared to death and ran away. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to chase after them. His gaze landed on Blue Maple. He had purposely left Blue Maple alive so that he could kill him slowly. You, Blue Maple was shocked and retreated. What's with that expression? Weren't you very arrogant just now? Come on, kill me. Lu Ming stepped forward with a mocking look on his face. Lu Ming, how dare you touch me? I'm from the Lan family. If you dare to touch me, not only you, but also Lan Ling and Blue Merchant will die miserably. Blue Maple said coldly. Seeing that he wasn't a match for Lu Ming, he started to threaten Lu Ming. It would have been better if he didn't mention this. Once he did, Lu Ming's eyes flashed with killing intent. Boom. The gate of domination came crashing down. Break for me. Blue Maple shouted. His body emitted a strong blue light. His sword shot up to the sky and slashed at the gate of domination. Blue Maple was very strong. He was also in the third heaven of the King God realm and had awakened his origin God power factor twice. He was stronger than the other two. Although he didn't control the origin God power factor, he had cultivated a few terrifying secret techniques. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been confident that he could enter the top 10 after awakening his origin God power factor. Unfortunately, he had met Lu Ming. The gate of domination came crashing down and Blue Maple's sword light exploded. Crack. A powerful force slammed into Blue Maple's body. Blue Maple screamed in agony as the bones in his chest broke. His body flew out and almost exploded. Protect the young master. The other geniuses of the Lan family rushed towards Lu Ming without caring about their lives. Anyway, they wouldn't die in this world. The geniuses of the Lan family didn't dare to run away. Otherwise they would be in trouble. They were destined to be killed by Lu Ming easily. Lu Ming took a step forward and stepped on Lu Maple's face. Chapter 32:19. Lu Ming stomped on Blue Maple's face. Blue Maple screamed in agony as his body fell to the ground like a meteorite. He crashed heavily into the ground, creating a human-shaped crater. Blue Maple lay in the human-shaped crater, his body twitching non-stop. Blood spurted out of his mouth. Tragic, too tragic to look at. Damn it. Damned bastard. Outside, the experts of the Lan family were furious when they saw this scene. They wanted to slap Lu Ming to death. Lu Feng was the #1 prodigy among the younger generation of the Lan family. He was the face of the Lan family. However, he was in such a miserable state. His face had been trampled on. This was equivalent to everyone in the Lan family being trampled on by Lu Ming. Good, Lu Ming is bold. Well done. He can't beat Blue Maple, so he used the power behind him to threaten him. How shameless. What kind of genius is he? Someone cheered loudly. Naturally, he was the enemy of the Lan family. When the experts of the Lan family heard this, they vomited blood. Inside the spherical world, Lu Ming's body descended rapidly. He was about to stomp on Blue Maple's face again. Lu Ming, I won't let you off. Blue Maple roared. A powerful aura surged from his body. Then, with a boom, his body was torn apart. Blue Maple had self-detonated. He did it to prevent himself from being tortured by Lu Ming. Blue Maple self-detonated. His body appeared outside the spherical world. Lu Ming, Blue Maple growled. His face was ferocious like a wild beast. Although his injuries would heal once he exited the spherical world, he still felt his face burning. Lu Ming's kick had left a deep impression on him. His murderous intent towards Lu Ming had reached its peak. He actually self-detonated. Lu Ming pursed his lips. He didn't want to kill Blue Maple so easily. He wanted to torture Blue Maple, but he didn't expect Blue Maple to be so decisive. Huh. Even if you self-destruct, half of your battle chi will be absorbed by me. Lu Ming mumbled to himself. He realized that when Blue Maple self-detonated, half of his battle chi had fused into his battle suit. He killed several top-notch geniuses in a row, especially Blue Maple. His battle aura was already extremely dense, and it had reached the level of a blue battle suit. After so many battle chis were integrated into Lu Ming's battle suit, the color of Lu Ming's battle suit constantly turned darker. After a while, the color of Lu Ming's battle suit reached the peak of blue. Lu Ming felt that he was only one step away from upgrading to a purple battle suit. It's about time. If I continue to absorb it, it will be detrimental to my future plans. I should find a place to hide and cultivate. After 3 months, I will go to the central region to snatch the divine throne. Lu Ming pondered for a moment, then turned into a beam of light and left. Not long after, Lu Ming found a secluded place and went underground. He opened up a space underground and cultivated quietly. The people outside had completely lost track of Lu Ming. Why did Lu Ming go underground to cultivate? His battle suit is only one step away from upgrading to a purple battle suit. Once it is upgraded to a purple battle suit, it will definitely increase his strength greatly. That's right. He should seize the time to upgrade his battle suit. With his strength, if his battle suit is strong enough, he might be able to compete for the top 10. I don't understand. Some people discussed and shook their heads. They did not understand Lu Ming's thoughts. Only a few people were deep in thought, as if they had thought of something. In the spherical world, the killing continued. As time passed, the killing became more and more intense. As time went on, many people's battle suits were of higher grades. Killing one person would give them more battle chi. Some people with weaker cultivation were killed. As for the 10 heroes of the holy capital, Di Jiani, Chu Qingkong and the rest, they were undoubtedly the brightest stars and attracted everyone's attention. In the blink of an eye, there were only 3 days left. The 3-month period would be up. On this day, Lu Ming left the underground and rushed out, ending more than a month of seclusion. In more than a month, he naturally did not have any major breakthroughs, but his cultivation had become more stable. 3 more days, that's enough. Lu Ming rushed to the central region of the world. He did not hunt any battle beasts. Instead, he flew very quickly like a kunpeng sweeping across the sky, quickly flying to the central region. 2 days later, he was not far from the central region. Just then, a terrifying force attacked Lu Ming from the side. It was shockingly fast. Lu Ming was shocked. He clenched his fist and a long spear condensed and swept to the side. That was a spear radiance. It bombarded the long spear in Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming's body shook violently and flew to one side, breaking a mountain peak. What a powerful force. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He steadied himself and looked in that direction. A burly young man in battle armor stepped on the air and approached. Chu Qingkong, no wonder. Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly. It was Chu Qingkong who attacked him. The surface of Chu Qingkong's battle armor was covered with a purple battle suit. A purple battle suit. It's Chu Qingkong. Chu Qingkong is going to attack Lu Ming. There was also an uproar outside. Many people were excited. Chu Qingkong was known as the strongest genius in the history of the War God clan. His combat strength was unfathomable. He was considered to be in the top 10 or even the top 3. As for Lu Ming, his previous performance could be said to be a dark horse. He was also ranked in the first tier. Now, who was stronger between Lu Ming and Chu Qingkong? Of course, Chu Qingkong is stronger. Chu Qingkong is also a monster, but his cultivation is stronger. Lu Ming is definitely no match for him. Someone said with certainty. That makes sense. Others nodded. Most people felt that although Lu Ming was strong, he was definitely no match for Chu Qingkong. Lu Ming, we finally meet. I'll take half of your battle chi. Chu Qingkong held the long spear in his hand. His body was covered with 2 layers of battle armor and battle suit. He looked more majestic and wild, as if the god of war had come back to life. He looked calm and walked toward Lu Ming step by step. He was full of confidence. You talk too much. If you want to fight, let's fight. I've been wanting to beat you up for a long time. Come on, let's fight. Lu Ming shouted. As you wish. Chu Qingkong shouted coldly. His violent aura soared into the sky. A huge shadow of a spear thousands of miles long appeared. God of War strike. Chu Qingkong shouted and was about to perform the God of War strike. At this moment, Lu Ming's body flashed and flew away at an extremely fast speed. Chu Qingkong, keep half of your battle chi with you. I'll come back later to get it. Lu Ming's voice came from afar. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had flown hundreds of miles away. Chu Qingkong almost spat out blood. His aura had reached the peak and he was about to launch a thunderous attack. However, Lu Ming had escaped. He escaped. Chapter 32:20. Lu Ming fled without putting up a fight. In the blink of an eye, he had flown hundreds of miles away. All the onlookers were stunned. They had thought that Lu Ming would have a big fight with Chu Qingkong. I knew Lu Ming would not dare to fight. He knows that he is no match for Chu Qingkong. That's why he fled before the fight began. That's right. Chu Qingkong is definitely stronger than Lu Ming. I have a rough idea of Lu Ming's strength now. It's normal to flee without putting up a fight. Moreover, Chu Qingkong's combat suit is purple. It can enhance his combat strength even more. Discussions broke out. Everyone thought that Lu Ming had fled because he knew he was no match for Chu Qingkong. Even without the enhancement of the combat suit, Qingkong can still crush Lu Ming. An elder from the War God clan stroked his beard and said calmly. His face was full of confidence. That old man. He's speaking too early. Don't get slapped in the face later. Yu Linglong muttered unhappily. When the elder from the War God clan heard this, his eyes narrowed. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. However, Yu Linglong was standing in the crowd of the Wu clan. The elder from the War God clan could only stare at her. Young people are short-sighted and ignorant. The elder from the War God clan waved his sleeves and scolded. Yu Linglong made a face and didn't want to bother with him. In the spherical world, Chu Qingkong was furious when he saw Lu Ming flee. "Where do you think you're going?" Chu Qingkong roared and chased after Lu Ming. "Don't go. Fight with me." Chu Qingkong shouted as he chased after Lu Ming. "I'll see you later," Lu Ming said and continued flying. It was not that he was afraid of Chu Qingkong and did not dare to fight with him. It was that killing Chu Qingkong now would be detrimental to his future plans. It was better to leave Chu Qingkong for later. Lu Ming executed the Nine Heavens Garuda technique to the extreme and turned into a Garuda. His speed was extremely fast. The cultivation techniques of the War God clan were proficient in offensive techniques. Speed wasn't their forte. The distance between the two of them grew further and further. "Lu Ming, stay here." Suddenly, two young men appeared in front of them. One of them shouted, "What a coincidence!" Lu Ming smirked because one of the young men was an old acquaintance. It was Yuan Yu, who had gone to Nianju Heavenly King Mansion to fight for the Divine Power Source Pearl. Yuan Yu's innate talent was astonishingly high. At the first heavenly layer of King God Realm, his God origin had awakened for the second time. Now, Yuan Yu had broken through to the second King God Realm. When he saw Lu Ming, his eyes exploded with a shocking killing intent. It was because of Lu Ming that he had lost the God Power Source bead. That Divine Power Source Pearl was a gift from the Nine Blades Heavenly King residence. When he found out the truth, he was so angry that he couldn't sleep for 3 months. Now that he saw Lu Ming, his anger grew. "Lu Ming, let's fight again." Yuan Yu roared. His second heavenly layer of King God Realm cultivation was fully unleashed. Together with the God origin that had awakened for the second time, he performed his strongest move and attacked Lu Ming. However, as soon as he launched his attack, his eyes widened rapidly. This was because a group of 9-clawed divine dragons were charging towards him. Asterisk roar. Asterisk a total of 36 9-clawed dragon drowned him in an instant. Then, Yuan Yu and the young man disappeared and reappeared outside the sphere. Yuan Yu almost vomited blood. He was stunned. After more than 100 years, his cultivation had reached the second heavenly layer of King God Realm. He thought that he could defeat Lu Ming. However, he was killed by Lu Ming in one move. He suffered a huge blow. Lu Ming killed Yuan Yu and the other youth in seconds. His figure did not stop as he continued to fly. Soon, Lu Ming got rid of Chu Qingkong completely and continued to fly towards the central area. About half a day later, a dazzling light shone in front of him. Lu Ming saw a light shield. It was like an inverted bowl that was placed on the ground. Inside the light shield was a flat ground. There were 20 fighting stages on the ground. On the side of each battle platform there was a seat. These were the divine thrones. This round was called the God Seats. It was to fight for the God Seats. First, the 20 participants would be selected. Then, the participants would be ranked according to their battle chi. After the ranking was determined, the last participant would start to challenge the others. Finally, the top 10 and top 3 would be determined. Many people had gathered near the light shield. Apparently, many of them had arrived. These people were wearing battle suits of different colors. Some were green, some were blue, and some were blue. Some were even purple. Lu Ming swept his gaze over them. Su Wuya Yijifan Yuanjia? There was no doubt that the 10 prodigies of the holy capital were wearing purple battle suits. Di Jinni, Chen Xingxian, and the others were also wearing purple battle suits. These people stood in the air like cranes in a flock of chickens. They were extremely dazzling. The others kept a distance from them. They were afraid that they would be killed and their battle chi would be stolen. Everyone kept a distance from each other and kept their guard up. Lu Ming's arrival attracted many people's attention. Some people's eyes were filled with hostility and greed. Although Lu Ming's battle suit was not purple, it emitted an intense blue light. Apparently, it had reached the limit of the blue battle suit. It was only one step away from purple. If they could kill Lu Ming, they would definitely obtain a large amount of battle chi. Many people had bad intentions but did not attack. They were afraid that with so many people, if they attacked Lu Ming, they would be the oriole behind the mantis stalking the cicada. They were afraid that others would take advantage of them. Among them there was one with the coldest killing intent. It was Wu Fan's gaze. Wu Fan was also one of the 10 talents of the Saint Capital. His battle suit was purple, but it was only light purple. He stared at Lu Ming and wanted to kill Lu Ming. However, as one of the 10 talents of the Saint Capital, he had many opponents and many people were staring at him. He did not dare to attack here. He was afraid that he would be attacked by others. Lu Ming stood in the air and waited quietly. As time passed, more and more people gathered here and more people came. Soon there were about 500 people around the light shield. Rumble. Chu Qingkong flew over quickly, bringing with him a strong wind. Lu Ming. Chu Qingkong roared. Chu Qingkong roared furiously. As soon as he saw Lu Ming, he wanted to charge at him. However, in the next moment he stopped and his body stiffened. The reason for that was because many gazes had landed on him. Those gazes were all filled with greed. The color of Chu Qingkong's battle suit was too dazzling. It was dark purple and emitted an intense purple light. How much battle chi did it contain? There were not many people whose battle suits were comparable to Chu Qingkong's. Even the 10 heroes of the holy capital were staring at Chu Qingkong, eager to make a move. Chu Qingkong did not dare to attack and made a defensive posture. In the end, no one attacked. There were too many masters present and they were all wary of each other. The first to attack would definitely be targeted by others. If they were not careful, they would become the prey of others. Chapter 32:21. Around the light shield, everyone was wary of each other. In the end, no one dared to make a move. Time passed by second. In the end, there were about 500 people around the light shield. Obviously, the rest had been eliminated. More than 10,000 people had entered, but after 3 months of fighting, there were only about 500 people left. These 500 people were all elites and they were going to fight for the last 20 great thrones. As time passed, the atmosphere became more tense and dignified. Everyone stared at the great thrones in the light shield and got ready for battle. Buzz. Suddenly, the light barrier trembled slightly and shone brightly. In the next moment, with a bang, the light barrier exploded and turned into specks of light that dissipated. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As soon as the light shield dissipated, figures dashed toward the 20 fighting platforms. More than 500 people split into 20 groups and charged toward 20 different fighting platforms. Get lost. You're the one who should get lost. While they were still in the air, a scuffle broke out. In an instant, dozens of people were killed in the scuffle. Swoosh. Finger radiance was shocking. Su Wuxia, the leader of the 10 heroes of the holy capital, pointed with 2 fingers. Every time he pointed, a young man's body would be pierced and he would die on the spot. In an instant, more than 10 geniuses were killed by Su Wuxia. It's the boundless finger. Let's go. The remaining young men were terrified and did not dare to compete with Su Wuxia. They left the fighting platform and dashed toward other fighting platforms. In another fighting platform, sword radiance flashed and sword chi swept across 90,000 miles. Blood spurted out and more than 10 young men were killed by a sword. It was Di Jianni, the white-haired Di Jianni. The young man who was in the same fighting platform as him was terrified and left the fighting platform as well. The 10 heroes of the holy capital, Di Jianni, and the other top geniuses did not charge toward the same fighting platform. Instead they spread out. It was not yet time for them to fight. With these geniuses on the fighting platforms, the other geniuses could not compete at all. Even the second-tier geniuses were easily killed. These top-notch geniuses easily occupied a fighting stage. Swoosh. Lu Ming also dashed toward a fighting platform. This fighting platform did not have any first-tier geniuses. Kill. Suddenly at least a dozen attacks flew towards Lu Ming. The color of Lu Ming's battle suit was extremely rich. Many geniuses had their eyes on Lu Ming. Block it. Lu Ming roared on purpose, using the ice shackles and 9 layers of crimson gold armor to block the attack. Boom. Boom. More than a dozen attacks landed on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming deliberately shook his body violently, pretending that he was no match for them and retreated rapidly. The main reason was that there were too many people flying towards the battle platform. There were actually more than 100 people and the number was still increasing. Because the other battle platforms had terrifying experts overseeing them, it was difficult for the others to compete. They all flew to this battle platform. With so many people around, Lu Ming was not that stupid. How tiring would it be to fight to the death right now? Therefore, he feigned weakness and pretended to be defeated. After Lu Ming was repelled, someone wanted to take advantage of the situation to pursue and kill Lu Ming. However, he was killed by someone else with 1 slash. With so many people, how could they all attack Lu Ming at the same time? They were all staring at each other. As long as there was a gap, they would attack ruthlessly. No one was staring at Lu Ming anymore. This battle platform erupted into a chaotic battle. Lu Ming dashed left and right in the crowd, looking very weak. Then, some people began to comment. This Lu Ming is indeed not good enough. He doesn't have first-tier combat strength. The other first-tier geniuses are dominating the crowd. No one dares to challenge them. They've already become gods. I was right. Although Lu Ming's combat strength is not bad, it's probably only at the peak of the second tier. He can't reach the first tier. Seeing Lu Ming like this, many people gloated, thinking that Lu Ming's strength was only SOSO. However, there were a few young people who frowned. They were the geniuses who had been killed by Lu Ming previously, such as Lan Feng and the others. When Lu Ming killed them previously, they felt that Lu Ming's strength was as deep as the sea and unfathomable. With such combat strength he should not be so weak. This guy is pretending to be weak. Lan Feng guessed Lu Ming's purpose. He wished he could remind those geniuses to work together to defeat Lu Ming. Unfortunately, he could only think about it. On Lu Ming's battle platform, the battle was extremely fierce. There were more than 100 people fighting. There were only 2 such intense battle platforms. Every moment there would be people being killed, turning into light and disappearing. Even so, the battle was still fierce. That was because they would not really die if they were killed here. Without any worries, they naturally fought with their lives on the line. Soon, there were only a few dozen people left on this battle platform, and the number was still decreasing. In the end, there were only a dozen people left fighting. These people were the second-tier geniuses. Their cultivation bases were at the 3rd heaven of the King God realm, and they had awakened their divine power factor twice. Their combat strength was about the same. After a chaotic battle, they were all injured and their combat strength was greatly reduced. At this moment, Lu Ming stepped out. Lu Ming clasped his hands behind his back and stood in the air. He looked arrogant and said, "All of you get lost. This battle platform is mine. F***ck off, die for me. Kid, your battle chi is mine." Seeing Lu Ming's appearance, someone immediately attacked Lu Ming. "Stubborn," Lu Ming said in a pretentious manner. He then took out the Gate of Domination. Boom. The God's Gate became 10,000 zhang tall and pressed down. Those geniuses were already injured, so their combat strength was greatly reduced. How could they resist the God's Gate? They were killed by Lu Ming's God's Gate. Oh no, it's the secret technique of the origin. The remaining geniuses were shocked. Kill. Lu Ming continued to control the God's Gate and pressed down. Bam. 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 More geniuses were killed by the God's Gate. More than 10 Sky Prides were instantly killed. Not a single one was left alive. Lu Ming was the only one left on the battle platform. Lu Ming smiled and walked toward the throne. Shameless. Shameless. He deliberately waited for others to be injured before attacking. How shameless. Outside, someone shouted, thinking that Lu Ming was taking advantage of the situation. Shameless? This is called strategy. Yu Linglong retorted. The argument outside couldn't change the fact inside. Lu Ming walked toward a divine throne and sat down on it. He then began to size it up. He saw Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon also took a throne and sat on the battle platform. It was worth mentioning that Autumn Moon's combat strength was also extremely shocking. She had completely reached the first level and shocked many people. Autumn Moon smiled at Lu Ming. "Come on, get into the top 10. Lu Ming cheered for Autumn Moon. At this moment there was only one battle platform left. There were only a dozen geniuses left. Chapter 32-22. Lan Ling was also competing in that battle stage. Unfortunately, although she had awakened the Origin Source secret skill, she had not awakened the Origin Source divine power factor enough. There was an extremely powerful supreme talent in that battle stage. Although he had not awakened the Origin Source secret skill, he had mastered a few other terrifying secret skills. His combat strength was shocking and he was even stronger than Blue Maple. In the end, Lan Ling was killed out of this world and she was eliminated from the competition. After a round of killing, the last battle stage was occupied by that powerful supreme talent. Although that supreme talent was not in the first tier, he was still at the peak of the second tier. Most importantly, the color of his battle suit was extremely rich. It was actually purple. It was evident that he was quite lucky. The purple battle suit had greatly increased his combat strength. Hence, he was able to defeat the other supreme talents and obtain victory, sitting on the last great divine throne. All 20 great divine thrones were taken. The 20 of them looked at each other from afar and sparks flew. In the future, the 20 of them would be their opponents. The top 10 was the goal of many of them. At this stage, it was only meaningful to be in the top 10. There was no point in ranking between the 11th and 20th places. Only those in the top 10 would have the right to establish their own families. Only those in the top 3 could make a request to the Saint Emperor. That was everyone's goal. At this moment, the Imperial Advisor stepped out and stood in the air above the spherical world. He waved his hand and a ray of light entered the spherical world. Then he spoke. His voice could be heard directly in the spherical world. Alright, the top 20 have been decided. Now, I will make a preliminary ranking based on the amount of battle chi you have obtained. The Imperial Advisor's voice rang in the ears of Lu Ming and the rest. First place Di Jiani. Then the Imperial Advisor announced. Di Jiani's battle chi was the richest. This was within everyone's expectations. This was because one could roughly tell from the color of the battle suit. Di Jiani's purple battle suit was the richest. Second place Su Wuya. Third place Chen Xingxian. Fourth place Chu Qingkong. 13th place Autumn Moon. 18th place Lu Ming. 19th place Yu Xing. Soon, the Imperial Preceptor announced the battle chi rankings of the 20 participants. Of course, this was only the initial ranking. The final ranking still needed to be determined through challenges. I'm actually ranked 18th and there are 2 people lower than me, Lu Ming muttered. He had purposely refrained from obtaining battle chi in order to lower his ranking in the final battle. He had not expected that there would be someone with a lower ranking than him. Rumble. At this moment, the 20 battle stages under their feet began to move and converged into an even larger battle stage. 20 top-notch geniuses sat on 20 divine thrones and were scattered around. According to the rules, the last person will start the challenge. Everyone only has one chance to challenge. If they win, they can choose to continue the challenge or take a break. If you fail your challenge, you won't have the chance to continue. You can only wait for others to challenge you. Now we'll start from the 20th place. Gao Song, who do you want to challenge? The voice of the Imperial Advisor continued. Ranked 20th was Gao Song from Heavenly King Lu Guang's residence. Heavenly King Lu Guang's residence was ranked second among the 27 Heavenly King residences. It was ranked higher than Heavenly King residences. Gao Song was the strongest genius in Heavenly King Lu Guang's residence. He was also one of the first-tier geniuses. Gao Song took a step forward and landed on the battle stage. He looked around and finally fixed his gaze on a young man. Yu Jiuqian, come out and fight. Gao Song pointed at one of the young men. He wants to challenge Yu Jiuqian. Many people were shocked. Yu Jiuqian was one of the 10 prodigies of the Holy Capital. He was ranked 9th in the battle chi rankings. That's normal. If it were me, I would also choose Yu Jiuqian. Everyone wants to be in the top 10 now. Gao Song's goal is obviously to be in the top 10 as well. He knows that with his strength, it's impossible for him to be in the top 3. So his goal is to be in the top 10. Challenging Yu Jiuqian, who's ranked 9th, is the most suitable choice. As long as he defeats Yu Jiuqian, he'll be able to jump to the 9th place and wait for others to challenge him. Even if he loses a battle and falls back 1 place, he'll still be in the 10th place. Someone explained. That explanation won the approval of the crowd. Why didn't he challenge those who were ranked higher? Wouldn't that be safer? The reason was simple. Those who were ranked higher were stronger. Gao Song only had one chance to challenge them. If he failed, he would be stuck in the top 20 and would never have another chance. Therefore, choosing Yu Jiuqian, who was ranked 9th, was the best choice. It's your mistake to choose me, Yu Jiuqian said indifferently. He took a step forward and landed on the battle stage. Is that so? I've long wanted to meet the 10 prodigies of the Holy Capital. Since Chu Qingkong can defeat Yuan Jie, I can also defeat you. Gao Song smiled faintly and was very confident. Chu Qingkong and Yuan Jie snorted at the same time. Yuan Jie was inexplicably implicated and was unhappy. Chu Qingkong was disdainful. How could Gao Song be compared to him? Boom, boom. Both of them stopped talking nonsense and unleashed their powerful auras. Then the 2 figures collided with each other like shooting stars. A terrifying explosion was heard. The violent force swept out in all directions like a stormy sea. The 2 of them engaged in a fierce battle. Both of them were ranked first. There was no doubt that they were very strong. They were both in the 3rd King God realm and had awakened their divine origin twice. Moreover, they had awakened their origin secret techniques. On the surface, the 2 of them seemed to be on par with each other. In fact, even if they seemed to be on par with each other, there was still a difference in their actual combat strength. The use of origin secret techniques, the mastery of other divine skills, secret techniques, and one's combat awareness and skills all determine the strength of one's combat strength. For example, if both of them had a strength of 100 gene, and one was an ordinary intellectual while the other was a well-trained special forces soldier, how could their combat strength be the same? There was also someone like Lu Ming. Other than his divine origin and origin secret techniques, He had also mastered other divine skills and secret techniques. His combat strength was also shocking. Therefore, there was also a gap between Yu Jiuqian and Gao Song's combat strength. Moreover, Gao Song was wearing a blue combat suit while Yu Jiuqian was wearing a purple combat suit. It boosted his combat strength more. After the two of them exchanged dozens of blows, Gao Song started to lose. He was at a disadvantage and was suppressed by Yu Jiuqian. Everyone at the scene was watching carefully. It was rare to see a battle between prodigies of this level. Lu Ming was also watching carefully. Get down? In the end, Yu Jiuqian roared and exerted all his strength to launch his strongest attack. Chapter 32-23. Yu Jiuqian and Gao Song used their strongest moves and began their battle. In the end, Gao Song's body shook violently and he was sent flying out of the stage, spitting out blood. Gao Song lost. In this battle, being sent out of the stage was considered a loss. Also, being killed was considered a loss. When Gao Song lost, waves of battle chi flew out of his body and merged into Yu Jiuqian's body, causing the color of Yu Jiuqian's battle robe to become even darker. You can absorb battle chi even if you defeat him. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was overjoyed. He had made the right bet. The expressions of the others also changed. If they were defeated, half of their battle chi would be absorbed. This would have a huge impact on the rest of the battle. Everyone had different thoughts in their minds. Gao Song's expression was extremely ugly. He was originally ranked last. Now that he had lost his challenge, he no longer had a chance. His ranking was fixed at 20th. As for Yu Jiuqian, he smiled gently and returned to his throne. Yu Jiuqian has won. The battle continues. Nether Xing, ranked 19th, begins his challenge. The Imperial Advisor continued to announce. Nether Xing was the #1 prodigy of the Abysmal Heavenly Palace. He was also very strong and ranked above the first tier. His figure was like a ghost as he rushed onto the fighting ring in a flash. Then his gaze swept across the crowd. Some people's eyes flickered, extremely wary of Nether Xing. Many people were guessing who Nether Xing would challenge. Finally, Nether Xing's gaze fell on Lu Ming. Kid, get down here and die. Nether Xing pointed at Lu Ming and said coldly. He's challenging Lu Ming? Many people's hearts moved, feeling a little surprised. He had originally thought that Dark Star would do the same as Gao Song and directly challenge someone in the top 10. That would be the most efficient way to obtain a spot in the top 10. Challenging someone in the top 10 first and then challenging someone else would consume more divine power. Moreover, Nether Xing was challenging Lu Ming, who was ranked 18th. Challenging me. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. To be honest, this was exactly what he wanted. Lu Ming also took a step forward and came to the fighting ring, standing opposite Yu Xing. Brat, you will suffer a terrible fate for killing the people of my 9th Abyss Heavenly King residence. Yu Xing said coldly. Ghostly energy swirled around him, making him look like a ghost king from hell. So what if I killed him? I don't mind telling you that I've killed a few more before you. You'll be added to the list later. Lu Ming said indifferently, as if he did not place Nether Star in his eyes at all. I will make you die a horrible death. Dark light constantly flowed out of Nether Xing's eyes as ghostly chi surged around him. His figure flickered as he charged towards Lu Ming. Ghost chi churned and a huge ghost claw grabbed at Lu Ming. Ancient God Tactic, Moon Slashing. Lu Ming's heart stirred and he unleashed the ancient god body. His body expanded and he transformed into a green-armored ancient god. Then a huge spear appeared in his hand and he slashed out. The crescent-shaped spear light slashed towards Yu Xing's demonic claw. He actually dared to clash head-on with the people from the 9th Abyss Heavenly King residence. How foolish. Seeing this scene, many people shook their heads. Everyone knew that the attacks of the 9th Abyss Heavenly King residence were extremely strange and could affect the soul. Once they clashed with it, they would be invaded by the opponent's strange energy. Wasn't Lu Ming digging his own grave by doing this? Nether Xing's eyes also showed a smug look. Cold light flashed as the power of his demonic claw increased. Boom. The crescent-shaped spear light collided with Yu Xing's demonic claw, erupting with a violent explosion and overflowing energy. Sure enough, a strange energy charged towards Lu Ming, attacking Lu Ming's soul. However, Lu Ming's soul was protected by the startling feather scroll, so soul attacks were ineffective against him. Nether Xing did not know that his attack was ineffective against Lu Ming. He smiled viciously and said, Die. His hand was like a knife, slicing towards Lu Ming's head. He wanted to use this move to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming sneered, his aura exploding. The spear in his hand turned into a dazzling spear light that shot towards Yuxing. This was the final move of the 3 Armageddon strikes, Exploding Star. The huge spear collided with Yuxing and exploded. A terrifying destructive energy enveloped Yuxing. Ah! How can you still use your full strength? Yuxing screamed as he retreated, his eyes filled with disbelief. He originally wanted to take advantage of the fact that Lu Ming's soul was affected and kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. He did not expect Lu Ming to be completely unaffected. Small tricks are useless against me, Lu Ming said indifferently. You have a treasure that can protect your soul? Yuxing thought of something and roared. Kill. Lu Ming was too lazy to explain and charged towards Yuxing. Purgatory Ghoul King, come out. Yuxing roared as ghostly chi surged around him. Then with a mournful howl, a huge evil ghost took shape and pounced at Lu Ming. This was Yuxing's origin secret technique, Purgatory Ghoul King. Gate of God appear. Lu Ming muttered as he circulated the 10 types of divine power in his body. The Gate of God appeared, emitting a blinding light that suppressed the Purgatory Ghoul King. The Purgatory Ghoul King roared as he slashed at the Gate of God with his ghost head blade. The Gate of God trembled slightly, emitting an ancient light as the Purgatory Ghoul King retreated. Bzzz. The Gate of God continued to suppress him. After Yuxing's soul attack was ineffective against Lu Ming, he was weaker than other prodigies of the same level, so Lu Ming could easily deal with him. He controlled the Gate of God and continued to suppress him. After a dozen or so moves, the Purgatory Ghoul King exploded, and the Gate of God slammed into Yuxing's shoulder. Yuxing screamed as he was sent flying. Half of his body had exploded and he looked terrible. Ah, brat, I won't let you go. Netherstar roared and dragged his crippled body down the stage. With a wave of Lu Ming's hands, 9 ice chains flew out and shrouded the entire fighting ring. The Sun Moon Divine Power had already awakened its origin Divine Power factor. This made the ice chains even more frightening. The entire fighting ring was filled with coldness and was about to be frozen. Netherstar smashed his way through the ice, but he did not manage to break out of it. Shattering Star. Lu Ming shot out his spear again, and destructive power swept toward Yuxing. Then the Gate of God continued to suppress him. 2 killer moves were used at the same time. Yuxing let out a blood-curdling scream as his body completely exploded. The next moment Yuxing's body appeared outside the sphere. He had been killed by Lu Ming and had been forced out of the sphere. Damn it, damn it. Even after being killed, Netherstar continued to roar, his temper as violent as thunder. This brat deserves to die. Some of the 9 Serenity's Heavenly King Residence's experts were as thin as bones, and they were covered in black robes. They exuded a cold aura as they spoke. Many people couldn't help but distance themselves from these people. Chapter 32-24. Many of the onlookers were stunned by this result. Previously, many people thought that Lu Ming did not possess first-grade strength and was at most at the peak of second-grade strength. But now Lu Ming had killed Serene Xing. But why did Lu Ming not even dare to fight Chu Qingkong when he met him? Why did he run away immediately? Someone asked. This is very simple. The main thing is that Chu Qingkong is too powerful. Given Chu Qingkong's combat capability, he can definitely compete for the top 3. Although Lu Ming is also at the first level, he is no match for Chu Qingkong. He knows his own limits and knows that he is no match for Chu Qingkong. That's why he ran away. I think his goal is the top 10. Also, although he defeated Serene Xing, he has a treasure that protects his soul. Serene Xing's killing move is useless against him. It will be easier for him to deal with Serene Xing. A white-haired old man explained as if he had seen through everything. Senior is wise and insightful. A group of people flattered him. On the battle stage, after Lu Ming killed Serene Xing, a large amount of battle chi flew from Serene Xing's body into Lu Ming's battle suit. Lu Ming's battle suit emitted a bright light. The color was extremely rich and then the color changed. The blue color faded and was replaced by purple. Lu Ming's battle suit finally leveled up to purple. His battle suit was originally at the peak of blue. After absorbing half of Serene Xing's battle chi, it finally leveled up. However, it was only a light purple color. There was still a big gap between it and Di Jinni, Chu Qingkong and the others. Serene Xing has failed his challenge. The Imperial Advisor announced and continued, now Lu Ming, who is ranked 18th, will continue his challenge. Lu Ming is going to continue his challenge. He just fought. I wonder who he will challenge now. Everyone guessed. Lu Ming stood on the battle stage and did not retreat. He pointed his spear at a young man and said, Jianghu, come down and fight. The young man who was challenged by Lu Ming's face darkened slightly. Then he stepped out and landed on the fighting stage. This Lu Ming actually challenged the Gold Continent. It's very simple, the Gold Continent is the weakest out of all the people here, and can only be considered as the peak of the second grade. If I don't challenge him, who else can I challenge? That's true. The Gold Continent was the one with the most intense competition on the last stage. Lan Ling was defeated by him. Although this person had obtained a lot of battle chi and was wearing a light purple battle suit, he was ranked 15th in the beginning. However, he was not very strong and was currently the weakest among all of them. He had yet to awaken an origin source secret technique. Even though I haven't awakened my ultimate technique, it won't be easy for you to defeat me. Wind God's tribulation die. Jianghu roared as he unleashed his full strength, unleashing his strongest secret technique and killing move as he charged towards Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming directly brought out the Sovereign's Gate and smashed it towards the Gold Continent. Although Jianghu had mastered several powerful secret techniques, he wasn't strong enough. Under the suppression of the God's Gate, his body shook violently. After a few moves, he was sent flying to the edge of the fighting stage. His hand almost exploded and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Boom. Lu Ming continued to control the Sovereign's Gate. Jianghu gritted his teeth, turned around and rushed down the fighting stage to admit defeat. If he admitted defeat, he still had one more chance to challenge. If he was killed by Lu Ming and killed his way out of this world, he wouldn't even have the chance to challenge again. The purple battle suit really boosts one's battle strength. Lu Ming muttered with a smile. Just now, under the enhancement of the purple battle suit, his strength had increased by a level. Even the power of the Sovereign's Gate had become stronger. That was why he could defeat Jianghu so easily. After Jianghu admitted defeat, half of his battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. The color of Lu Ming's battle suit suddenly deepened, slowly breaking away from the light purple category. Lu Ming's defeat of Jianghu wasn't unexpected. After all, Jianghu's strength was only at the second level. Lu Ming wins this battle. Lu Ming, will you continue to challenge or will you take a break? The Imperial Preceptor continued to announce. Continue. Lu Ming's voice could be heard from afar. Many people's eyes lit up. Lu Ming wanted to continue to challenge. If he wanted to continue, he could only challenge the top 14 people. Every one of the top 14 people had extremely strong battle strength. Every one of them had the potential to enter the top 10. This time, they should be able to test Lu Ming's battle strength. Wu Fan, come out and fight. Just as the crowd was thinking, Lu Ming's voice rang out again. He wants to challenge Wu Fan? That's strange. Wu Fan is ranked 14th. He actually wants to challenge Wu Fan. I thought he would directly challenge the top 10 people. If he challenges like this, won't he use up a lot of divine power? I know he seems to have a grudge against Wu Fan. However, it's unwise to challenge him like this. The crowd was in an uproar. Many people couldn't figure out Lu Ming's thoughts. Normally, those who challenged later on would directly challenge the top 10 people, just like Gao Song. This was because this was the best battle plan. The number of battles would be minimized. Now that everyone was an expert, every battle would consume a lot of divine power. If they were injured and couldn't recover in time, it would greatly affect their battle strength. It would be very disadvantageous for the later battles. Directly challenging the top 10 was the best choice. However, Lu Ming chose to challenge Wu Fan, who was ranked 14th. Moreover, Wu Fan was the son of the Imperial Advisor. The Imperial Advisor's face darkened slightly, but he didn't say anything. You want to challenge me? Very good, very good. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Seeing that he was being challenged by Lu Ming, Wu Fan's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Taking a step forward, Wu Fan came to the fighting ring. His body was surrounded by a strange gray fog, which made him look like he was drifting in and out of place. Boom. Powerful auras exploded from both of them at the same time. When they met in midair, it created a violent wave of energy. Wu Fan wanted to kill Lu Ming because of Lan Ling. And Lu Ming wanted to kill Wu Fan because of Blue Merchant. Both of them wanted to kill the other party. Ancient Sorcerer Fist, kill. Wu Fan shouted coldly as he charged towards Lu Ming. Like a mountain pressing down on Lu Ming, he threw a punch at Lu Ming. Divine Dragon Celestial Laksana. Lu Ming threw out continuous punches with both of his fists. 36 nine-clawed dragons were formed and they pounced towards Wu Fan. At the same time, Lu Ming took a step forward and a huge spear shot towards Wu Fan like a mountain range. At this moment, Lu Ming maintained the quadruple combat strength of the battle character incantation and the green-armored ancient god body. His strength was at its peak. Ancient sorcerer body. Wu Fan roared as his body swelled. His muscles bulged and he was filled with majestic strength. Boom, boom. He threw out continuous punches with both of his fists, piercing through the air and creating a violent whistling sound. With every punch, a 9-clawed dragon exploded. After dozens of punches, all 36 9-clawed dragons exploded. Chapter 32-25. Wu Fan threw out dozens of punches in an instant. The power of each punch was shocking. The 36 9-clawed dragons were defeated in an instant. The last punch landed on Lu Ming's long spear. Dang! A deafening sound reverberated throughout the area. The long spear vibrated violently. Lu Ming and Wu Fan's body shook slightly and they both took a few steps back. What a strong power! Lu Ming's eyes flickered slightly. Wu Fan's ancient sorcerer body seemed to be similar to the ancient god body. After using it, one's power would increase tremendously. However, Wu Fan's ancient sorcerer body was obviously not as strong as Lu Ming's ancient god body. Lu Ming took a step forward and waved his long spear as he continued to attack Wu Fan. Sky Splitter, Moon Slash, Star Burst. Lu Ming used the 3 annihilation strikes consecutively. The spear radiance enveloped Wu Fan's body. Wu Fan shouted loudly as he unleashed his power to the maximum to fight against Lu Ming. However, after more than 10 moves, Wu Fan started to lose. He retreated and was gradually suppressed by Lu Ming. In a battle of pure power, Lu Ming had the upper hand. Lu Ming is so strong. He is only in the first level of the King God realm. Why is his power so shocking? He must have mastered a few terrifying secret skills. For example, a secret skill that can double one's fighting strength. His divine power is also extremely strange. It is so dense that it is frightening. He is indeed the chosen one. As a peerless genius, he can fight with someone who is 2 levels higher than him. I have lived for countless years and I have never seen anyone like him. Back then the outstanding prince was only SOSO. I'm afraid he is not as good as Wu Fan. Many people were amazed that Lu Ming could force Wu Fan to this stage. On the other hand, the imperial tutor's face darkened. 100 beasts kill. At this moment, Wu Fan shouted angrily. His body emitted a strange red light. The red light was as red as blood, as if fresh blood was flowing. Following which, the red light turned into different divine beasts. There were divine dragons, phoenixes, chilants, tautai. A total of dozens of divine beasts pounced towards Lu Ming, each of them emitting a monstrous baleful aura. Boom! Lu Ming struck a divine dragon with his spear. The long spear shook violently. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force rushing towards him. He could not help but retreat. At the same time, a strange red light followed the long spear and tried to penetrate Lu Ming's body. Being touched by the red light, Lu Ming felt a sharp pain in his body. What a terrifying power. This is an origin source secret technique. Lu Ming knew that Wu Fan had finally used his origin source secret technique and was going all out. Sovereign's Gate. Without the slightest hesitation, Lu Ming unleashed the Sovereign's Gate and sent it crashing down. The Gate of Gods emitted an ancient light, and a powerful suction force spread out, acting on the divine beasts. Boom! Boom! The god beasts slammed into the Sovereign's Gate, unleashing all sorts of terrifying attacks. The 2 sides constantly clashed. Shatter it! Lu Ming shouted coldly. The 10 types of divine power in his body surged. With the Sovereign's divine power as the core, they crazily surged towards the Sovereign's Gate. The Sovereign's Gate hummed and vibrated, unleashing an even stronger power. It was like a heavenly monument crushing down. Bam! Bam! Several mythological beasts exploded one after another. Wu Fan's face changed. The red light on his body became even brighter, and his entire body was covered in blood. The divine beasts formed by the red light roared and their power increased. Some divine beasts tried to avoid the Sovereign's Gate from the sides and attack Lu Ming directly. However, the Sovereign's Gate released a powerful suction force. It was like a black hole. The powerful suction force was like a cage, attracting the divine beasts. The collision continued, and both sides fought with all their might. Exploding Star. At this moment, Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and stabbed it towards Wu Fan. A terrifying spear light shot towards Wu Fan. How can you still have energy left? Wu Fan roared in shock. He had already used all his strength to fight against Lu Ming. He no longer had the energy to activate other secret skills. However, how could Lu Ming still have energy left to activate other killer moves? Naturally, he did not know that Lu Ming had the quantifying formula. In order to deal with this assessment, Lu Ming had stored a large amount of divine power in the quantifying formula. Although controlling the Sovereign's Gate drained Lu Ming of his divine power, the quantifying formula immediately sent divine power into Lu Ming's body. The 10-star nuclei in his body were instantly replenished. Naturally, he had the ability to launch other attacks. Boom. The spear light formed by the exploding star hit Wu Fan and exploded. The destructive force completely enveloped Wu Fan. Wu Fan's body exploded inch by inch. He could no longer maintain the origin secret skill. The divine beasts collapsed in an instant. The Sovereign's Gate seized the opportunity and pressed down, smashing directly on Wu Fan's head. Wu Fan screamed. His body exploded and he died on the spot. Then he reappeared outside the spherical world. Ming. Wu Fan's face was completely distorted. Like an evil spirit, he emitted a shocking murderous intent. He, one of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital, an unparalleled genius, had actually lost. Moreover, he had lost to Lu Ming. In his eyes, Lu Ming was his rival in love. He could not accept this. Moreover, now that he had lost, it meant that he had completely lost this assessment and had no chance of being in the top 10. He was about to explode in anger. Before the Taishu dynasty started, he had said that he would definitely be in the top 10 and even the top 3. But now he had no chance of being in the top 10. What he had said in the past was simply a fart. It was a slap to his face. All of this was caused by Lu Ming. Damn bastard, bastard, Wu Fan roared angrily like a wild beast. Fan, or calm down. Victory and defeat are common in war. A voice rang in Wu Fan's ears. Wu Fan's body shook and the vicious aura on his body finally dissipated a little. Yes, father. Wu Fan nodded at the state preceptor. The one who had spoken was naturally the Grand Tutor. You have to learn from this incident and strive to become stronger. The Grand Tutor nodded. Although the Grand Tutor said this, when he turned to look at Lu Ming, a cold killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. After killing Wu Fan, half of Wu Fan's battle chi had been absorbed by Lu Ming. The battle chi on Lu Ming's body emitted a dazzling radiance. Its color had completely turned into a dark purple. It was second only to the battle chi on Di Jianni and Su Wuya. Not bad. If I absorb more, it should be able to turn into a golden battle chi. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Lu Ming has won this battle. Lu Ming, do you want to continue the challenge or take a break? The Grand Tutor continued to ask. Continue. Lu Ming's answer was simple. He then pointed his spear at a youth and said, Yuan Jie, come down and fight. This time, Lu Ming had challenged Yuan Jie, one of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital. Yuan Jie was ranked 12th in the previous rankings, 2 ranks higher than Wu Fan. He actually challenged Yuan Jie. Is he trying to climb up the ranks step by step? Qiu Qiuyu, who is ranked 13th, is one of his own. That's why he didn't challenge him. He is really trying to climb up the ranks step by step. Does he have so much divine power? Such a battle will consume a lot of divine power. Chapter 32-26. The order of Lu Ming's challenge was really confusing. NW and W? 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 See. Many people were confused. Obviously, he wants to climb up step by step to absorb battle chi and upgrade his battle suit to increase his strength. Lu Ming's goal is not as simple as being in the top 10. Looks like he wants to be in the top 3. If I'm not wrong, he must have a treasure that can store divine power. Some experienced people finally guessed Lu Ming's purpose. However, they were still confused. Although treasures that could store divine power were rare, there were still some in the Taishu sacred capital. However, most of these treasures could only store 1 or 2 times the amount of divine power a person possessed. However, in such a battle between geniuses, even if they stored 2 or 3 times the divine power, it would not be enough. Although they did not have the same idea, their guesses were close to Lu Ming's plan. Yes, Lu Ming's plan was to climb up step by step and absorb others' battle chi to upgrade his battle suit. That was why Lu Ming had stopped absorbing battle chi a long time ago. If he had continued to absorb battle chi and absorbed enough battle chi, he would have been ranked at the top right from the start. How would he have had the chance to keep challenging? Moreover, he had not absorbed battle chi as fast as he did now. Now all the geniuses here had absorbed a large amount of battle chi. As long as he defeated one of them, he would be able to absorb a large amount of battle chi. This speed was really fast and could upgrade his battle suit. Therefore, when Lu Ming met Chu Qingkong previously, he turned and left instead of fighting with him. Whoosh! Yuan Jie rushed into the fighting ring and pointed his spear at Lu Ming. Strong spear intent spread in all directions. Come on. Yuan Jie's words were simple. As soon as he finished speaking, he charged at Lu Ming. Deadly spear. Yuan Jie's attack speed was extremely fast. Every move was a killing move. Lu Ming responded with rapt attention, and the two of them engaged in an intense battle. Yuan Jie was very strong, but his strength was about the same as Wu Fan's. After exchanging a few dozen blows with Lu Ming, he was defeated by Lu Ming and was sent flying out of the fighting ring. Lu Ming had absorbed half of Yuan Jie's battle chi and its color had become more intense. It was comparable to Di Jian's. After half of Yuan Jie's battle chi was absorbed, his battle suit was downgraded to a blue battle suit. This made Yuan Jie's expression turn ugly. The downgrade of his battle suit would reduce the increase in his combat power, which would be very disadvantageous for him in the following battles. After defeating Yuan Jie, Lu Ming did not stop his challenge. Next he challenged a prodigy who was ranked 11th. This genius was also very powerful. After exchanging over 100 moves with Lu Ming, he was finally defeated by Lu Ming. Crash! Half of the opponent's battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. The color of Lu Ming's battle suit was so intense that it couldn't be dissolved. However, it was still purple and had not been upgraded. It's really difficult to upgrade it to a gold battle suit. Lu Ming sighed. His current battle chi had surpassed Di Jian's, but it had not been upgraded to a gold battle suit. As for the prodigy who was ranked 11th, his battle chi was already extremely intense. After half of his battle chi was absorbed, his battle chi did not drop in level. Instead, it barely maintained its light purple state. This made him very happy. Lu Ming, do you still want to continue your challenge? The Grand Tutor asked again. Yes. This was Lu Ming's answer. The crowd was already numb. Could it be that Lu Ming was going to fight his way up to first place? Some people couldn't help but think this way. Yu Jiuqian, come down and fight me. This time, Lu Ming directly jumped over the 10th place and challenged Yu Jiuqian, who was ranked 9th. The reason why Lu Ming challenged Yu Jiuqian was that he had seen Yu Jiuqian fight before. Hence he was more confident. Yu Jiuqian stepped out and landed on the fighting ring. Lu Ming, you are very strong. We don't need to test your strength. Let's go all out and decide the victor. Yu Jiuqian said. He was very straightforward. His body was shrouded in divine light and a terrifying aura permeated the air. Then golden carps appeared around his body. There was a total of 12 golden carps floating around Yu Jiuqian. Each carp was only the size of a palm and looked very lifelike. This was Yu Jiuqian's secret skill of the origin. There was nothing to test. The moment he attacked, he used his secret skill of the origin, his strongest killing move. Just what I want. Lu Ming said. Divine power surged and the gate of domination appeared. Kill? Yu Jiuqian shouted and moved his fingers. The 12 carps beside him twisted their bodies and flew towards Lu Ming. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The carps pierced through the air and let out terrifying whistles. They were like 12 rays of sword light and their speed was extremely fast. Lu Ming waited with rapt attention. 9-layered crimson golden armor appeared on his body and the ice chains surrounded him, forming multiple layers of defense. The gate of domination floated above his head and did not attack. Clang. One of the carps collided with the ice chains. It was as sharp as a sword light. Even with the current toughness of the ice chains, it could not block it. With a sizzling sound, it was cut open and hit several layers of crimson golden armor. In the end, even the 9-layered crimson golden armor could not block it. It left a sword wound on Lu Ming's body. What a strange secret skill of the origin. Each carp is a sword light, an extremely sharp sword light. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He then used all his strength to control the gate of domination. A terrifying suction force erupted from the gate of domination and enveloped a large area. The 12 carps were enveloped by the suction force of the gate of domination. Their speed was finally affected and they slowed down a little. At the same time, Lu Ming waved his spear and turned it into countless spear shadows to block the carps. Clang, 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 clang. The 12 carps turned into 12 sword lights and surrounded Lu Ming, constantly attacking him. Many people could not see the carps clearly. They could only see 12 sword lights flying around at an extremely fast speed. Lu Ming is going to lose. Yes, he's being restrained. His secret skill of the origin is astonishing, but now it's being restrained. If he uses his secret skill of the origin, he can only block a few sword lights. Yu Jiuqian's other sword lights will be enough to defeat him. It was a mistake for him to challenge Yu Jiuqian. Many people thought that Lu Ming was finally going to lose and stop here. During this time, Lu Ming did try to control the Gate of Domination to counterattack. However, the 12 carps attacked from different directions. The Gate of Domination could only send a few flying. He used moves like Sky Piercing, Moon Slashing, and Star Shattering, but they were all blocked by the carps controlled by his opponent. Lu Ming, you are no match for me. Admit defeat, Yu Jiuqian said. He was confident that Lu Ming could not attack him at all. He was in an invincible position. Chapter 32:27. You're overconfident, Lu Ming said. He wasn't worried at all. www? See. Was that all he had? Of course not. Extreme eye. At this moment, Lu Ming bellowed in a low voice. White light suddenly appeared in his eyes, like two whirlpools. A whirlpool suddenly appeared above Yu Jiuqian's head. A terrifying chill was emitted from the whirlpool. In an instant, Yu Jiuqian's body was covered by a layer of ice. Yu Jiuqian's face changed drastically. He unleashed his divine power in an attempt to break free from the chill. However, Lu Ming had already cultivated the Sun-Moon divine power to the point of awakening the origin divine power. The power of the Yin-Yang Eye was even more terrifying. Even if it was just the extreme Yin Eye, it was extremely powerful. This was an ancient secret skill. Although it wasn't the origin secret skill, it was even more powerful than the origin secret skill. An even more terrifying chill emerged from the whirlpool and enveloped Yu Jiuqian's body. He couldn't break free for a while. As his body was covered by the chill, he couldn't circulate his divine power. Naturally, his control over the 12 carps was also greatly reduced. Lu Ming wouldn't let go of such an opportunity. He became one with his spear and rushed out of the encirclement of the 12 carps. He then controlled the Gate of Domination to suppress Yu Jiuqian. The ancient stone gate exuded a strong aura and was as heavy as a mountain. Bam! Yu Jiuqian was sent flying and spat out blood. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Lu Ming was about to continue controlling the Gate of Domination when Yu Jiuqian shouted and admitted defeat. He had no choice but to admit defeat. If he was killed or severely injured by Lu Ming, it would be over for him. If he admitted defeat now, he still had a chance to keep his place in the top 10. You can go down by yourself. Lu Ming didn't continue attacking and stopped. After all, he didn't have any grudges with Yu Jiuqian. He didn't need to kill him. He just needed to defeat him. Yu Jiuqian rushed out of the battle stage. As soon as he was out of the battle stage, he immediately took out a divine pill and swallowed it to recover. If Yu Jiuqian rushed out of the battle platform, it meant that he had lost. Half of his battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. Finally, a bright light rushed out from Lu Ming's body. The color of his battle suit began to change. It was no longer purple and was replaced by gold. A pale golden battle suit covered Lu Ming's entire body. He became the first person to own a golden battle suit. So powerful. The golden battle suit boosts my combat power so much. Lu Ming felt it for a moment and was overjoyed. His plan had succeeded. He had indeed absorbed enough battle chi to transform it into a golden battle suit. The golden battle suit's enhancement of combat power was beyond his imagination. He actually has such a powerful secret technique? The others were shocked. Lu Ming not only had the origin source secret technique, but he also had the terrifying extreme Yin pupil. This was beyond many people's expectations. Lu Ming was becoming more and more mysterious in everyone's hearts. Many important figures' eyes flickered. No one knew what they were thinking. On the divine thrones around the battle stage, many prodigies looked solemn, especially those ranked 9th and below. Lu Ming had many tricks up his sleeve which made them extremely wary. Would Lu Ming continue to challenge? This thought popped up in everyone's mind. Now that Lu Ming had defeated Yu Jiuqian, he had replaced Yu Jiuqian's ranking and became 9th. Yu Jiuqian's ranking had dropped to 10th. His original 10th place had dropped to 11th. Those who were ranked lower had automatically moved back one place. Lu Ming has won this battle. Lu Ming, will you continue to challenge or take a break? The Grand Preceptor asked again. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Ming. They were all guessing if Lu Ming would continue to challenge. Take a break. This time, Lu Ming finally did not say that he would continue to challenge. Instead, he chose to take a break. He's finally taking a break. For some reason, many people secretly heaved a sigh of relief when they heard Lu Ming say that he was taking a break. Lu Ming had fought all the way until now. If he continued to fight, it would be too heaven-defying. It was difficult for them to accept. Lu Ming's decision to take a break meant that Lu Ming was still normal and could still get tired. Lu Ming was indeed tired. He had enough divine power because he had the quantifying character formula. However, maintaining the state of the green-armored ancient god had consumed too much of his physical strength. He needed a good rest. Lu Ming's body rapidly shrank and returned to normal. Then he landed on his divine throne, swallowed a divine pill to restore his physical strength and began to recover. Okay, Lu Ming has taken a break. The challenge will start from the 18th place. The national preceptor announced. The 18th place was the original 17th place. It was his turn to start the challenge. This person was also a peerless genius. After he landed on the fighting ring, he looked around. Obviously he could not be like Lu Ming. He did not have enough divine power. If he was injured, he would not be able to continue fighting. His gaze landed on the top 10 sky prides. Di Jinni, Su Wuya, Chen Xingxian and Chu Qingkong were ignored. These people were obviously too strong. He was definitely no match for them. His gaze swept over the last few people in the top 10. He looked especially at Lu Ming and Yu Jiuqian. Yu Jiuqian and Lu Ming had just gone through a great battle. They were definitely not at their peak. However, Lu Ming and Yu Jiuqian were very powerful. This person had to assess his own condition. Especially Lu Ming, who had fought his way up. If Lu Ming was still at his peak, he would be asking for trouble if he challenged Lu Ming. I challenge Yu Jiuqian. In the end, this person challenged Yu Jiuqian. Yu Jiuqian had just been injured by Lu Ming. Among the top 10 geniuses, he should be the easiest to defeat. I admit defeat. Unexpectedly, Yu Jiuqian admitted defeat. He did not even want to fight. How decisive. However, this is the best way. That's right. Yu Jiuqian has admitted defeat and his ranking will drop. However, it doesn't matter. He still has one more chance to challenge. He can fight his way back. Now that he is injured, even if he wins, his injuries will only worsen. The challengers later will target him. He will be defeated sooner or later. It's better to admit defeat now. Some people analyzed. Yu Jiuqian admitted defeat. The challenger replaced Yu Jiuqian in the 10th place. Then the challengers continued. The 16th place genius issued a challenge. This person also challenged the 10th place genius. The two of them engaged in an intense battle. In the end, the challenger won. Then it was Autumn Moon's turn. This was because Wu Fan, who was ranked ahead of Autumn Moon, had already been killed by Lu Ming. Who are you challenging? Many people's gazes fell on Autumn Moon. Who would Autumn Moon challenge? Autumn Moon took a step forward and landed on the platform. Her long skirt fluttered in the wind like a fairy from the 9 heavens. I challenge her. Autumn Moon pointed at a young genius. Chapter 32:28. Autumn Moon pointed to a sky pride, which shocked many people. Ranwi? W? 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 Ina? Come. That was because this genius was also a woman, a peerlessly beautiful woman. She was one of the 2 women in the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies, known as the 4 beauties of the Holy Capital. Her name was Miao Shui. In the original ranking she was ranked 7th. Originally, everyone thought that Autumn Moon would challenge the 10th ranked Sky Pride. Because the 10th ranked Sky Pride had just gone through a great battle and was severely exhausted and injured, it was best for Autumn Moon to challenge that Sky Pride. Unexpectedly, Autumn Moon directly challenged Miao Shui, who was ranked 7th. However, many people began to get excited. After all, it was a battle between 2 beautiful women, which would undoubtedly be more interesting. Autumn Moon seems to be very close to Lu Ming. Both of them are from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Palace. This time, the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Palace is really something. They actually have 2 terrifying sky prides. And the 9 Sabers Heavenly King Palace has Chu Qingkong. These 2 Heavenly King Palaces that are ranked 1st and 2nd from the bottom are going to rise up. Many people exclaimed. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King's face was also full of smiles. The more sky prides there were, the stronger they were, the corresponding Heavenly King Palace would also be rewarded. Of course, most importantly, the greater the reputation of the corresponding Heavenly King Palace, the more experts they could attract to join them. The Taishu dynasty occupied a vast territory, and there were many star sectors. In such a vast territory, although most of them obeyed the orders of the Taishu dynasty and were under the jurisdiction of the Taishu dynasty, there were still many itinerant cultivators or forces that were not under the jurisdiction of the Taishu dynasty. On countless planets, there were also many independent experts who were cultivating alone. If the Heavenly King Palace was famous enough, it could attract these independent experts and itinerant cultivators to join them. It would be very useful to increase the strength of the Heavenly King Palace. If there were enough experts joining, the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Palace would be able to get rid of the embarrassing situation of being ranked last. I'm looking forward to a battle with you. At this moment Miao Shui spoke. Her graceful body twisted slightly, and she landed on the fighting ring. The two beauties stood facing each other, pleasing to the eye. Without a sound, an ancient stone machete floated out and was held in Autumn Moon's hand. Around Miao Shui's body, snowflakes began to appear. These snowflakes were very strange. They were very large and each one was the size of a palm. There was nothing to hide. The two of them used their source secret techniques at the same time. Snowfall World. Miao Shui was the first to make a move. With a wave of her slender hand, snowflakes flew towards Autumn Moon. They were like blades of light, trying to envelop Autumn Moon. Boom. Autumn Moon's divine power exploded as she slashed out with her scimitar, turning into streaks of rainbow light that filled the sky. Clang clang clang. When the saber light struck the snowflakes, it actually produced a violent collision sound, and sparks flew in all directions. Then the snowflakes flew back to where they came from. Miao Shui's expression changed slightly. She took a step forward and floated towards the Autumn Moon. Her body exploded into countless snowflakes. Miao Shui's body actually turned into snowflakes. The sky was filled with snowflakes, covering the Autumn Moon. Each snowflake contained a great killing intent that was incomparably terrifying. It could even cut through the toughest divine weapons. Qiu Yu's expression turned slightly serious. She shouted softly and the saber light exploded. Boundless saber light burst forth and enveloped Qiu Yu. Snowflakes were slashed away by Autumn Moon. In an instant, the two of them had exchanged more than 10 moves, but Autumn Moon did not win. The strength of these top geniuses could not be measured by their cultivation base. Miao Shui's strength was very shocking. On the surface, Qiu Yu's cultivation base had reached the 3rd King God realm. Moreover, she had cultivated the universe myriad Tao scripture, which allowed her to control 8 kinds of divine grade God power. Moreover, these 8 kinds of divine grade God power had awakened the original God power factor. Although they were all first awakenings, lagging behind Miao Shui's second awakening, in terms of divine power, Autumn Moon still had the upper hand. After all, she had 8 types of divine power. However, Miao Shui was able to block Autumn Moon's attacks for the time being. However, Lu Ming was not worried about Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon still had the god-killing light that she had not used yet. He believed that there were not many people who could fight Autumn Moon at the same level as her. Not even Miao Shui. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of collision continued. In a few breaths, Autumn Moon had already slashed out countless times. Moreover, the speed of her attacks was getting faster and faster. Snowflakes were sent flying by the Autumn Moon, dancing in all directions. Some of them even flew towards the geniuses on the divine thrones. Lu Ming and the others quickly set up their defenses to block these snowflakes. She's making her move. Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a layer of black light emanating from Autumn Moon's saber. That was the god-killing light. Swoosh. Autumn Moon slashed out with her saber. The saber light flashed and slashed across the void. The entire sky seemed to have been split in half. The snowflakes also seemed to have been slashed apart. The snowflakes danced in the air before retreating and reforming into Miao Shui's appearance. At this moment, Miao Shui's face was pale. There was a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. There was also a bloody mark on her chest. I've lost. Miao Shui looked at Autumn Moon with a complicated expression. She then moved and left the fighting ring. Miao Shui has lost. Many people let out a long sigh. Their eyes were filled with shock. Miao Shui, one of the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies and one of the Holy Capital's 4 beauties, had lost to a girl from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence. Moreover, no one had heard of this girl before. From now on, there will be one more beauty among the Holy Capital's 4 beauties. The Holy Capital's 5 beauties. Moreover, Lady Qiu Yu is superior in both beauty and talent. Some young men's eyes lit up as if they had found a prey. Don't even think about it. Let me tell you, this Miss Autumn Moon is Lu Ming's wife. Someone from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence said. What? She's Lu Ming's wife? Oh my god, such a beauty is already taken. Heaven is unfair. My heart can't take it anymore. My heart is broken. Quick, help me to the sword. Then the crowd exclaimed. Miss Autumn Moon was Lu Ming's wife. Both of them were extremely talented. They were really a match made in heaven. After defeating Miao Shui, Miss Autumn Moon absorbed half of her battle chi. The color of Miss Autumn Moon's battle suit became more intense. However, it did not upgrade to gold. Miao Shui's battle suit did not upgrade either. It only turned into a light purple color. This battle is won by Miss Autumn Moon. Do you want to continue or stop the battle? The Imperial Advisor asked. Stop the battle. Miss Autumn Moon said and returned to her throne. After defeating Miao Shui, she replaced her in the 7th place. Miao Shui dropped 1 place to the 8th place. Lu Ming naturally dropped 1 place to the 10th place. The original 10th place was squeezed out of the 10th place and became the 11th place. That person's face turned ugly because he had already challenged before. Now that he was squeezed out of the top 10, he no longer had the chance to challenge again. The result was already decided. Chapter 32-29. Right now, there were only 2 people below the top 10 who had yet to challenge anyone. They were Yu Jiuqian and Yuan Jie. W. and A. Com. Yu Jiuqian and Yuan Jie were ranked 12th and 13th respectively. The person ranked 11th had already lost the right to challenge the top 10. It was Yuan Jie's turn to challenge. Yuan Jie's gaze scanned the top 10 people. Of course, Lu Ming was ignored by him. He had been defeated by Lu Ming before. If he challenged Lu Ming again, he would be asking for humiliation. Therefore, his gaze swept across the 9 people in front of him. Finally, his gaze landed on Miao Shui. The top 10 were all top prodigies. None of them were easy to deal with. However, Miao Shui was easier to deal with because she had just fought a big battle and was exhausted. Although it was a little dishonest to challenge Miao Shui now, he would rather be looked down upon than enter the top 10 and gain the right to establish his own family. Miao Shui. In the end, Yuan Jie pointed his spear at Miao Shui. Miao Shui floated down and landed on the fighting ring. Yuan Jie, do you think you can defeat me just because I've just fought a battle? You're sorely mistaken. Miao Shui said coldly. Make your move. Yuan Jie did not say anything else and attacked with his spear. Miao Shui turned into snow again and fought with Yuan Jie. The 2 of them fought fiercely. Soon they had exchanged dozens of blows. Although Miao Shui had just fought a fierce battle, she was still able to unleash her peak combat power in a short time. In the end, the 2 of them fought fiercely for more than 100 blows. Miao Shui defeated Yuan Jie and won. Yuan Jie's defeat meant that he had completely lost the right to compete for the top 10. Yuan Jie's face was gloomy and ugly. Before the Taishu Imperial Academy was held, he was ambitious. Although he might not be able to enter the top 3, he was confident that he could enter the top 10. However, he was defeated by Chu Qingkong before the Sacred Academy was held. After the Taishu Imperial Academy was held, he was defeated by Lu Ming. Now he had no chance of entering the top 10. This was a huge blow to him. Outside, countless spectators were also amazed. This time, the Taishu Imperial Sacred Academy was too strange. Until now, there were only 4 people left in the top 10 of the Holy Capital's 10 greats. As for the 27 Heavenly Kings' palaces, they actually took up 6 of the spots. The current ranking was as follows. Di Jinni, Su Wuya, Chen Xingxian, Chu Qingkong, Yi Jifan, Shuihen, Chiu Autumn Moon, Miao Shui, Sui Hanqiu and Lu Ming. Among them, Di Jinni came from Divine Sword Heavenly King Mansion. Chen Xingxian was from the Thousand Saints Heavenly King Mansion. Chu Qingkong was from the residence of 9 Blades Heavenly King. Autumn Moon and Lu Ming came from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion. Lu Shuihen was from the number 1 Heavenly King Palace, Heavenly King Wushuang Palace. Only 4 of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital remained. They were Su Wuya, Yi Jifan, Miao Shui and Sui Hanqiu. This had never happened before. In the past, the 10 prodigies would take up at least half of the top 10 spots each time the Void Imperial Academy was held. Most of the time, all 10 spots were taken by the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies. Now there were only 4 spots left. This made the local people of the Great Void Sacred Academy pale. They felt ashamed. The local people of the Great Void Sacred Academy had always been high and mighty. They looked down on those from the Heavenly King's palaces, the Marquis palaces and the General's palaces. This situation was simply a slap to their faces. Now only Yu Jiuqian has hope. I hope he can pull down one of the Heavenly King's palaces. This way the Holy Capital's 10 prodigies can at least keep half of the top 10 spots and not create history. That's right, but it's difficult. Many of the local people of the holy capital were discussing and looking at Yu Jiuqian hopefully. Now, only Yu Jiuqian was qualified to challenge the top 10. After Yu Jiuqian finished his challenge, if he lost, the top 10 would be confirmed. If Yu Jiuqian won, there would be more variables. However, it was also a crucial battle. Many people could not help but feel nervous. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King was especially nervous. If after this battle Lu Ming and Autumn Moon could still keep their registration, they would have a great chance of entering the top 10. Who would Yu Jiuqian challenge? Now it's Yu Jiuqian's turn to challenge. The Imperial Advisor announced. Yu Jiuqian stepped into the fighting ring and looked around. He frowned slightly. Whoever he challenged now would not be easy to deal with. Of course, the best candidate to challenge was Miao Shui. Miao Shui had been through a series of battles and was the most exhausted. However, challenging Miao Shui would be taking advantage of her. He would definitely be criticized and criticized. Moreover, challenging Miao Shui was equivalent to the holy capital's 10 prodigies killing each other. He would probably be scolded to death by the local people of the holy capital. In the end, Yu Jiuqian's gaze fell on Shui Wuhan. Yu Jiuqian challenged Shui Hen. This was something that could not be helped. Among the 6 sky prides of the Heavenly King's palaces, he had been defeated by Lu Ming. Naturally, he would not challenge Lu Ming again. On the other hand, Autumn Moon's strength seemed to be unfathomable and unpredictable. He was not confident in defeating her. After thinking about it, Shui Hen seemed to be the only one who was more active. It's your mistake to challenge me. Shui Hen's eyes flashed. To be honest, he was also very unhappy. As the strongest sky pride of the 27 Heavenly King's palaces, he was being looked down upon. Among the 6 sky prides of the Heavenly King's palaces, Yu Jiuqian had challenged him. Boom. Without saying anything else, the two of them engaged in an intense battle. Yu Jiuqian used his origin secret technique to form 12 carps to attack Shui Hen. On the other hand, Shui Hen condensed an ocean directly. This was his origin secret technique. The ocean stirred up thousands of waves that slapped continuously. The power was boundless and sent the 12 carps flying. The two of them exchanged hundreds of blows. In the end, Shui Hen was stronger and defeated Yu Jiuqian. He absorbed half of Yu Jiuqian's battle chi. However, half of Yu Jiuqian's battle chi had already been absorbed by Lu Ming. It would be useless for Shui Hen to absorb the other half. In the end, it was still a purple battle suit. With Yu Jiuqian defeated, the top 10 were confirmed. Because if they continued to challenge, they would be challenging those in the top 10. No matter how they fought or how they fell, the top 10 would still be the top 10. The 9 Extremes Heavenly King was overjoyed. This time, there were 2 people from the 9 Extremes Heavenly King Palace who had entered the top 10. This was a unique glory for the 27 Heavenly Kings palaces. Many of the Heavenly Kings had already congratulated the 9 Extremes Heavenly King. This made the 9 Sabers Heavenly King extremely unhappy. Humph, when Chu Qingkong enters the top 3, his glory will not be comparable to those 2. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King snorted. Top 3? How can you think that Lu Ming and Autumn Moon can't enter? The 9 Extremes Heavenly King sneered. Chapter 3230. Haha, do you think that Lu Ming and Autumn Moon can enter the top 3? What a joke, what a joke. Juju, you must have lost your mind. The 9 Blades Heavenly King laughed loudly. W? Then you think Chu Qingkong can enter the top 3? The 9 Extinction Heavenly King responded with a similarly mocking expression. Oh, then let's make a bet. 9 Blade Sky King said. Take a gamble? What are we betting? The 9 Absolutes Heavenly King asked. Starcrux Dawn. 10 Starcrux Dawn. Do you dare? 9 Blade Sky King said. The 9 Extremes Heavenly King's expression changed. By the side, the faces of the other people who were watching the show also changed. 10 Starcrux pills. This bet was a little too big. The Starcrux pill was an extremely precious divine pill. Even if a Divine Lord Realm powerhouse saw it, they would crave it and fight for it with all their might. This was because the Starcrux pill was extremely useful to Divine Lord powerhouses. It could increase their cultivation. It was priceless. Now the 9-Blade Celestial Lord had asked for 10 Starcrux elixirs. This was simply a huge gamble. What? Juju, have you lost your confidence and don't dare to gamble? The 9 Blades Heavenly King sneered. What kind of bet? What are the conditions for winning or losing? 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion asked. It's simple. Let's see which side can enter the top 3. If Chu Qingkong enters the top 3, I win. If Lu Ming or Autumn Moon enters the top 3, you win. If both of us have someone enter the top 3, or if neither of us enters the top 3, then it will be considered a draw. What do you think? Nine-Blade Sky King said. Alright, I promise you. The Nine Extinction Heavenly King blurted out and agreed immediately. Juju, thank you for the 10 Starcrux pills. The Nine Sabers Heavenly King was overjoyed to see the Nine Sabers Heavenly King agree. You think you've won for sure? Don't slap your own face when the time comes. The Nine Extinction Heavenly King responded coldly. It was easier said than done to enter the top 3. Even if Lu Ming and Autumn Moon could not make it to the top 3, Chu Qingkong might not make it either. Di Jinni, Su Wuya, Chen Xingxian, none of them were easy to deal with. Behind them, Yi Zhifan, Lu Shuahen, and the others were still eyeing them covetously. Although the Nine Extinction Heavenly King did not think that he could win, he did not think that he would lose either. Alright, the top 10 spots have been confirmed. They are Emperor Sword 1. At this moment, the Imperial Preceptor spoke again and announced the top 10 this time. Among the top 10 this time, the 27 Heavenly Kings' palaces took up 6 spots, breaking history. The top 10 will be granted the right to establish their own clan. After the competition, His Majesty the Sage Emperor will bestow upon them a decree to establish their own clan. The Imperial Advisor continued. Many people's eyes were burning with envy. After obtaining the mansion opening token, one would have the right to establish their own clan. How glorious would it be to be the ancestor of a clan? In the future, as long as they became stronger and stronger, they would eventually become the general's residence, the marquis residence, or even the heavenly monarch's residence. This was the dream of all young people. Don't be discouraged, the manor opening token doesn't necessarily belong to the top 10 of the Holy Court. As long as you work hard on your cultivation and contribute greatly to the Holy Court, you will still be able to obtain the manor opening token. Some older generation figures warned their juniors. Many young people were filled with confidence. They clenched their fists and swore to themselves that they would definitely obtain the manor opening token in the future. Alright, the top 10 has been confirmed. However, the challenges will continue. Now we will decide the top 3. However, the rules will be slightly changed for the next challenge. After each battle, you will be given time to recover. Once you have recovered to your peak state, you will continue the battle. The Imperial Preceptor announced. Lu Ming and the others' eyes lit up as they pondered. Alright, the challenges will continue. Lu Ming has already challenged before. Let's start from the 9th place. The 9th place is Sui Hanqiu. Who would you like to challenge? The Imperial Preceptor's voice was heard. Sui Hanqiu stepped onto the fighting ring and glanced at the crowd. Now, Sui Hanqiu had 2 choices. The first was to challenge one of the top 3 and replace their position. Anyway, he had time to recover his strength. As long as he was strong enough, he would take over the top 3 and accept the challenges of others. The second was to learn from Lu Ming and challenge those who were ahead of him step by step. As long as he was strong enough and was confident that he could defeat his opponent, he would be able to absorb the battle chi of those who were ahead of him step by step and improve the level of his battle suit. However, there was a disadvantage to this. Once he failed, he would have no chance to be in the top 3. Sui Hanqiu's eyes flickered. He was thinking about which challenge to choose. I challenge Autumn Moon. Finally, Sui Hanqiu looked at Autumn Moon. Obviously, he chose the second option. He wanted to learn from Lu Ming and improve the level of his battle suit step by step. Whoosh! Autumn Moon stepped onto the fighting ring and clenched his fist. The blade of domination appeared in his hand. Die! Sui Hanqiu shouted coldly as he unsheathed his sword. The sound of the sword resounded in all directions. The 2 of them turned into 2 streaks of light and fought fiercely. Saber chi and sword chi were everywhere as they fought fiercely. However, after dozens of moves, Autumn Moon performed the god-killing light and began to gain the upper hand. After dozens of moves, Sui Hanqiu coughed out blood and was knocked out of the fighting ring by Autumn Moon. Sui Hanqiu was defeated. Autumn Moon absorbed Sui Hanqiu's battle chi and the color of her battle suit became darker. It was dark purple. Autumn Moon is so powerful. That divine light is terrifying. I've never heard of it before. Autumn Moon and Lu Ming are both dark horses. The fact that Autumn Moon had defeated Sui Hanqiu caused a lot of discussion. Next, Autumn Moon, who do you want to challenge? The National Master continued to ask. I want to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion. Autumn Moon's voice resounded in the entire arena. What? She wants to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion? This time, everyone was taken aback. Even Lu Ming was shocked. Autumn Moon wanted to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion. Why is this girl so impulsive? Lu Ming was also speechless. With Autumn Moon's strength, she might be able to win if she continued to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion step by step. If she won and upgraded her battle suit, she would have a higher chance of winning if she challenged the top 3. But now, Autumn Moon wanted to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion. Their battle suits were of the same level. Could Autumn Moon be a match for the Cliff of Oblivion? This girl is still inexperienced in the Jianghu. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Lu Ming knew that Autumn Moon wanted to challenge the Cliff of Oblivion because she wanted to be in the top 3 and help Lu Ming save Blue Merchant. However, Autumn Moon was still inexperienced. In the past, Autumn Moon was either with Lu Ming's parents or with Lu Ming himself. She did not have many opportunities to explore the outside world alone, so she was inexperienced. Naturally, she was not as scheming as Lu Ming, who was a wily old fox. Interesting. Su Wuya was also stunned. Then he stepped out and landed in the arena. Make your move. You're strong, but you're still not strong enough to challenge me, Su Wuya said. Even though he had seen Autumn Moon fight, he was still very confident. Su Wuya was the leader of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital. He had the right to be confident. Chapter 32-31. Autumn Moon's body was shrouded in divine light as her aura reached its peak. Waran? 1. W? Ina? Come. Swoosh. A terrifying saber light slashed out toward Su Wuya. Autumn Moon used all her strength as soon as she made her move. She used all her divine power and her origin source secret technique, the God-killing ray. Boom. Su Wuya's body also released a terrifying aura. His violent divine power stirred up the air and turned into a terrifying shadow of a finger that blasted toward Autumn Moon. Their attacks collided and an earth-shattering explosion erupted. Violent energy overflowed and spread in all directions. Lu Ming and the others quickly set up layers of defense to block the energy that spread out in all directions. Then, 2 figures could be seen retreating. What? That Qiu Yu's battle prowess is terrifying. Many people were shocked. Autumn Moon was able to fight Su Wuya to a draw. Not bad. Again. Su Wuya's voice rang out. Then, his body suddenly charged toward Autumn Moon. As he charged, a crescent moon appeared above his head. The moonlight shone brightly and was unparalleled. Autumn Moon's expression changed as if she had been attacked. She quickly slashed with her scimitar, and endless blade radiance slashed toward the void. The blade radiance slashed the void and made an intense collision sound. Boundless finger. At this moment, Su Wuya used the boundless finger again. A huge shadow of a finger pointed toward Autumn Moon. The boundless finger was one of Su Wuya's divine skills. It was extremely powerful and had at least reached the 10th level. As for the crescent moon, it was his origin source secret technique. Su Wuya was indeed very powerful. Not only was his origin source secret technique powerful, but his other divine skills were also exceptionally powerful. Autumn Moon cried out. Her blade radiance flashed and filled the sky with blade radiance, breaking Su Wuya's attack. God-killing ray. Then Autumn Moon cried out. Her body emitted wisps of black light. These were all God-killing rays. In the previous battle, Autumn Moon had only used a wisp of God-killing ray. Now Autumn Moon was using all her strength. Her entire body was enveloped by the God-killing ray. Then all the God-killing rays gathered on the scimitar. Swoosh. The blade radiance was dazzling. Su Wuya's finger attack collapsed. And the blade radiance slashed the crescent moon, causing it to shake violently. It looked as if Qiu Yu's saber was about to break the crescent moon apart. At this moment, countless people's faces turned grave. Especially the top 10 geniuses such as Chen Xingxian and Chu Qingkong, looked even more solemn. Qiu Yu's strength was beyond imagination. She was terrifyingly powerful. Even Su Wuya had been forced to such an extent. Boom. Suddenly the aura on Su Wuya's body surged again, and a strong divine power gathered on the crescent moon. The moon's power suddenly became extremely bright. Qiu Yu's body trembled as she floated backward. 4th King of God layer. Many people's faces turned solemn. Su Wuya's cultivation had reached the peak of the 4th layer of the King God realm. Previously, all the top geniuses were at the 3rd layer of the King God realm. It was difficult to break through each layer of the King God realm. This was especially true for the top geniuses. Breaking through from the 3rd layer of the King God realm to the 4th layer of the King God realm was equivalent to breaking through from a low-level King God realm to a mid-level King God realm. Once a person broke through, their strength would increase greatly. Su Wuya's cultivation had reached the 4th layer of the King God realm. His strength was extremely terrifying. Luminous moon in the sky. Wuxia cried out. His body emitted a dazzling light. Every inch of his skin seemed to emit moonlight. This was another terrifying secret technique. Just like the ancient god body, this secret technique was called luminous moon body. I originally thought that I would only use my full strength at the last moment. I didn't expect that I would use my full strength now. Your strength has really made me look at you in a new light. Wuxia looked at Autumn Moon with admiration. If he hadn't heard that Autumn Moon was taken, he would have been tempted. Wuxia's strength had reached its peak when he used luminous moon body. Swoosh. Wuxia turned into a ray of moonlight and shot toward Autumn Moon. The waning moon shone even brighter and shot toward Autumn Moon. The god-destroying light on Autumn Moon's body became even more intense. The god-destroying light flowed out of her eyes like streams of air. Autumn Moon increased her strength to the maximum. She turned into a ray of light and shot toward Wuxia. Clang, clang. A ray of divine light and a ray of moonlight collided in the sky. Every time they collided, violent air currents would surge out in all directions. Everyone held their breaths as they watched the battle in the sky. The two of them had fought for more than a dozen rounds. Bam! There was another loud explosion and the two figures retreated quickly. Wuxia no longer looked confident. Instead he looked solemn. On the other hand, Autumn Moon's body trembled slightly. The god-destroying light on her body flickered. Autumn Moon is going to lose. Lu Ming sighed. Indeed, in the next moment, the god-destroying light on Autumn Moon's body trembled and disappeared without a trace. Although the god-destroying light was powerful, it was very difficult to control it. Moreover, it was very demanding on one's body and would cause a huge burden. Autumn Moon had overused the god-destroying light and could not take it anymore. I've lost. Autumn Moon shook her head and flew out of the fighting ring. She landed on the throne. Young master, I'm sorry. Autumn Moon has lost. Autumn Moon's apologetic voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. Silly girl, you've done well. Leave the rest to me. Lu Ming smiled. He felt that it was a pity. If Autumn Moon had more experience in the underworld, she might have been able to defeat Wuxia when her battle suit turned golden. Autumn Moon was very powerful. If she gave it her all, Lu Ming might not be a match for her. Also, Autumn Moon's origin divine power factor had only been awakened once. If she had awakened her origin divine power factor twice, she might be able to fight Wuxia. Phew! Seeing that Autumn Moon had admitted defeat, Wuxia heaved a sigh of relief and relaxed. To be honest, the battle with Autumn Moon had consumed a lot of his energy and divine power. Wuxia had absorbed most of Autumn Moon's battle chi. His battle suit had become much thicker, but it had not been upgraded. However, it had reached the limit of the purple battle suit. If he absorbed more, it would be upgraded. Wuxia flew back to his throne and swallowed a divine pill to recover. The other geniuses also heaved a sigh of relief. Autumn Moon's defeat had lessened the pressure on them. However, they frowned again. Wuxia's strength was terrifying. Many of them knew that they were no match for him. Since Wuxia was no match for them, only Di Jinni and Chen Xingxian were left to challenge. After Autumn Moon's challenge, it was Lu Shuihan's turn. Lu Shuihan's eyes lit up as he started to think about who he should challenge. Chapter 32-32. Di Jinni, Wuxia, Chen Xingxian, Chu Qingkong, and Yi Zhifan stood in front of Shuihan. Di Jinni, fight with me. In the end, Shuihan challenged Di Jinni. Everyone was shocked. They had not expected Shuihan to challenge Di Jinni, who was ranked first. Previously, no one had challenged Di Jinni. Then Lu Shuihan had actually challenged Di Jinni. This caused everyone's eyes to be filled with anticipation. Di Jinni, who was ranked first in the initial batch, was an exceptional genius from a small thousand world. How powerful was he? Many people wanted to find out. Actually, Shuihan had thought it through carefully before challenging Di Jinni. Firstly, if he chose to fight his way up step by step and challenged Yi Zhifan, even if he defeated Yi Zhifan and obtained his battle chi, he would not be able to upgrade his battle armor. Unless he could continue to defeat Chu Qingkong or even Chen Xingxian, his battle armor would be upgraded to gold. Previously, Lu Ming had been able to upgrade his battle armor because he had fought his way up from the 18th place to the top 10. He had defeated many top geniuses to upgrade his battle armor to gold. This showed how difficult it was to upgrade his battle armor to gold. However, he had no confidence in defeating Chu Qingkong and Chen Xingxian. Although Di Jinni was famous, there were not many people who had seen him fight. Hence, not many people knew his true fighting strength. Hence, Shui Hen had challenged Di Jiani because he wanted to get lucky. Moreover, Di Jiani had too much battle chi. If he could obtain half of Di Jiani's battle chi, he might be able to upgrade his battle armor. Di Jiani looked calm. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. Attack. Di Jiani looked calm. His white robe and white hair made many girls scream. They had become Di Jiani's fans. Boundless Ocean. Shui Hen used all his strength and performed his origin secret skill. A vast ocean appeared and the waves created 1,000 layers. The raging waves looked as though they were going to drown the entire sky. The waves, which were a few hundred meters tall, slammed towards Di Jiani. However, Di Jiani still stood there calmly as though he did not see Shui Hen's attack. Why is Di Jiani not attacking? He did not even accumulate power. What is he trying to do? Don't tell me he's scared, silly. Many people discussed and thought that Di Jiani was scared. Clang. At this moment, Emperor Jiani moved. Not many people saw how Emperor Jiani moved. They only saw a flash of sword light that stunned everyone. Then the sea that covered the sky was split in half by the sword light. A figure retreated out of the fighting stage. Was Shui Hen. You. Lu Shui Hen opened his eyes wide and stared at Di Jiani in disbelief. Then a bloody scar appeared between Lu Shui Hen's eyebrows. The scar grew bigger and bigger until Lu Shui Hen's body was finally split into two. Flowing water mark had fallen. The scene suddenly fell into silence. Everyone was stunned. A single slash. With just a single slash, the peerless genius Flowing Water Mark was killed. Lu Shui Hen's reputation was not undeserved. Yu Jiuqian of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital had challenged Lu Shui Hen and was defeated by him. It could be said that Lu Shui Hen's strength was extremely strong. He could be ranked at the top of all the geniuses. However, he was killed by a single sword strike. They were both peerless geniuses. How could this be? After a moment of silence, the scene burst into an uproar. Countless people were talking about it. Even some of the older generation, legendary figures of the big families, and the heavenly kings could not stay calm. It was not because Di Jiani's cultivation level was high. They could see that Di Jiani's cultivation level was also in the 3rd layer of the king god realm, the same level as Lu Shui Hen. However, Lu Shui Hen was killed instantly. Great! The king spoke. This was the 2nd time the king had spoken. The first time was because of Lu Ming. Around the fighting stage, Su Wuya, Chen Xingxian, Chu Qingkong, and the others narrowed their eyes in shock. Then they became extremely solemn. The origin ancient word. It is definitely the origin ancient word. This guy is using it again. In the sea of consciousness, measuring word formula shouted. Lu Ming's eyes also became solemn. Compared to the last time he saw Di Jiani in the Bone Sword tribe's secret territory, Di Jiani was undoubtedly stronger. Lu Ming guessed that Di Jiani's cultivation level was probably not in the 3rd layer of the king god realm. He had just broken through recently. Moreover, Di Jiani was not only strong because of the origin ancient word. He was also strong in other aspects. He is so powerful. I am no match for him. Lu Ming thought to himself. He knew that even if he did his best, he would not be Di Jiani's match. Of course, it was because his cultivation level was too low. He was only in the 1st layer of the king god realm. If they were at the same level, Lu Ming was confident that he would not be inferior to others. However, this also reminded Lu Ming that he should not underestimate the heroes of the world. Just the Taishu dynasty alone had such terrifying geniuses. Compared to the entire chaotic universe, the Taishu dynasty was just a small place. How many geniuses were there in the vast chaotic universe? Lu Shui Hen's figure appeared outside the fighting stage. His face was extremely gloomy and filled with fear. He was really frightened by Di Jiani's sword. Di Jiani had killed Lu Shui Hen and absorbed half of his battle chi. The color of his battle armor became extremely rich. Then strands of golden radiance spread out. His battle armor had also been upgraded to a golden battle armor. The others' faces fell. Di Jiani was already extremely powerful. Now that his battle armor had been upgraded, who could be his match? Alright, Di Jiani has won this battle. Next, it's Yi Jifan's turn to challenge. The Imperial Master announced. Di Jiani retreated and Yi Jifan stepped onto the fighting stage. Su Wuya, let's fight. After Yi Jifan stepped onto the fighting stage, he directly challenged Su Wuya. This was not beyond the expectations of too many people. Among the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital, Su Wuya was ranked first while Yi Jifan was ranked second. The two of them had been competing for thousands of years. Yi Jifan was not willing to be ranked second and had always wanted to be ranked first. Hence, he and Su Wuya had fought countless times. This time, on such an important occasion, it was normal for Yi Jifan to challenge Su Wuya. Since you know that you will lose, why humiliate yourself? Su Wuya stepped forward and said calmly, revealing his strong confidence. Let's fight. Yi Jifan spoke, his battle intent skyrocketing. A shocking aura burst forth from Yi Jifan. Thick divine power spread out like a wave, burning fiercely like a flame. Fourth layer of the King God realm. Many people were shocked. No wonder Yi Jifan was able to compete with Su Wuya for the number 1 position of the 10 heroes of the Holy Capital. His cultivation level was also shocking. He had reached the 4th realm of the Divine King realm. Su Wuya's aura also exploded and their auras collided in the air. Then, the two of them turned into 2 streaks of light and charged at each other. Chapter 32-33. Su Wuya and Yi Jifan were ranked first and second in the Holy Capital's 10 talents respectively. There was no doubt that both of them were very powerful. They were almost invincible among those of the same level. Both of them unleashed their origin source secret techniques. Various powerful divine skills and secret techniques were unleashed and clashed with one another. Everyone held their breaths and stared at the battle between the two of them. They are indeed powerful. Lu Ming nodded. Su Wuya and Yi Jifan had broken through to the 4th layer of the King God realm. Even if they were at the 3rd layer of the King God realm, few of the geniuses present were their match. Soon the two of them had exchanged more than 200 blows. In the end, Su Wuya was more powerful and he forced Yi Jifan to retreat. In the end, Yi Jifan was knocked out of the fighting ring. Su Wuya had won the battle. Half of Yi Jifan's battle chi had been absorbed by Su Wuya. Su Wuya's battle armor shone with a golden light. Su Wuya's battle armor had successfully become a golden battle armor. Su Wuya and Di Jinni's battle armor already contained rich battle chi. It was almost at the peak of the purple battle armor. After absorbing some of the battle chi, their battle armor had become a golden battle armor. In that case, there were 3 people who had become golden battle armor. They were Lu Ming, Di Jinni and Su Wuya. Lu Ming, Chu Qingkong and Chen Xingxian frowned. Di Jinni and Su Wuya were already powerful. With the golden battle armor, their strength was even more terrifying. The two of them had almost secured 2 of the top 3 spots. Now the 3 of them could only compete for the 3rd spot. Now it's Chu Qingkong's turn to challenge. The national master announced. Chu Qingkong came to the fighting ring and looked directly at Chen Xingxian. Needless to say, he was going to challenge Chen Xingxian. Chen Xingxian flew up and stood on the fighting ring. One of the top 3 spots is destined to be mine. Chu Qingkong was very confident and said in an overbearing manner. Divine light kept flowing out of his armor, making him look very majestic. That's what I wanted to say to you. Come on. Chen Xingxian said indifferently. She was also full of confidence. Boom. Chu Qingkong took a step forward like a giant beast. The whole fighting ring shook. A huge spear radiance shot up to the sky and pressed down on Chen Xingxian like a mountain. 10,000 flower kill. 1,000 Xingxian waved her hand and countless flower petals appeared. These petals were of different colors. They were the petals of countless different flowers mixed together. The petals merged together to form a giant palm that grabbed downward. A giant hand and a giant claw collided with each other. In an instant, divine light shot out in all directions and energy waves swept out in all directions. The two continued to exchange a few blows, but there was no clear victor. Then the two of them used their origin source secret techniques and engaged in an even more intense battle. War God body, War God strike. Chu Qingkong let out a long roar. Divine light radiated from his body and began to swell. He looked like a real god of war. The divine war physique combined with the divine war strike was extremely powerful. It swept out in all directions, peerless and unparalleled. Chen Xingxian frowned. Countless flower petals appeared around her body. These petals could change into various forms. They could change into offensive and defensive forms. They could change into various forms. However, it was still difficult to resist Chu Qingkong's attack. The War God strike was extremely powerful. As the spear swept out, the petals exploded. I told you, you are no match for me. Chu Qingkong was overbearing. He stepped forward and waved his spear. A long river appeared. This was the ultimate move of the War God strike. The way of the spear became a river. With the help of the overbearing God's spear, the attack was extremely powerful. The ancestor of the War God family was known as the War God. It was a title that he earned from killing on the battlefield. He was known for his offensive power. Every move he made had terrifying offensive power. Obviously, Chu Qingkong had brought this offensive power to the extreme. Qian Xingxuan's body trembled slightly and she kept retreating. Chu Qingkong, I have to admit that you are very powerful. I wanted to fight with you at the same level, but it seems that I can't. Then, let's go all out, Qian Xingxian shouted. Before she finished speaking, a powerful aura rushed out from her body. Fourth layer of the King God realm. This was the aura of a fourth layer of the King God realm. Qian Xingxuan's cultivation had also reached the fourth layer of the King God realm. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Then he understood. The Thousand Saints Heavenly King Mansion had experts like the Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King. With the help of the Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King, Lu Ming and the others had improved greatly in just a few decades. Qian Xingxian was the genius of the Thousand Saints Heavenly King Mansion. With the help of the Heavenly King Old Heavenly King Mansion, it was normal for her to reach the fourth layer of the King God realm. As the fourth layer of the King God realm erupted, the petals around Qian Xingxian shone brightly and turned into a giant hammer. Boom! The spear light vibrated. Chu Qingkong's body shook violently and he was pushed back. Qian Xingxian took the opportunity to attack. Chu Qingkong is going to lose. Qian Xingxian is a genius of the fourth layer of the King God realm. As a genius, it is difficult to defeat someone of a higher level. Chu Qingkong is not going to be a match for her. Many people were discussing and they thought that Chu Qingkong was going to lose. 9 Sabers, it seems like you are going to lose the bet with me. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King, looking at the 9 Sabers Heavenly King with a smile. It is too early for you to be happy. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King said faintly. There was not a trace of worry on his face. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Chu Qingkong still had a trump card? As expected, there was a huge change in the fighting ring. After Chu Qingkong retreated a distance, he roared. A terrifying aura erupted from his body. His strong divine power was like an erupting volcano. His godly power had increased by a large margin. However, Chu Qingkong's cultivation was still at the third layer of the King God realm, but the strength of his divine power was much stronger than before. What was going on? His cultivation did not change, but his divine power had increased tremendously. Look at Chu Qingkong's dantian. Suddenly someone exclaimed. Everyone's attention was drawn to Chu Qingkong's dantian even without his exclamation. 2 balls of hot light appeared in Chu Qingkong's dantian. The crowd could vaguely see 2 star nuclei. They were the shadows of Chu Qingkong's star nuclei that appeared when he activated them to the extreme. However, the color of the star nuclei was different. 2 star cores of different colors and 2 different types of divine power. Furthermore, the size of these 2 star cores was larger than the size of the other star cores. Lu Ming's pupils shrank and he was shocked. Chu Qingkong had also mastered 2 different kinds of divine powers. Could it be that he had also practiced the universal Tao technique just like Yi Fuqian? But how was that possible? Jianghu had found the universe myriad Tao scripture in an ancient relic and he had never taught it to anyone else. Now, only he, Autumn Moon, and Lu Shenhuang had mastered the universe myriad Tao scripture. Chapter 32-34. The fact that Chu Qingkong had 2 star cores and controlled 2 different kinds of divine powers had shocked most people. It's an ancient cultivation method. Chu Qingkong is cultivating an ancient cultivation method. Some seniors exclaimed. An ancient cultivation method? Many people were puzzled and asked the seniors for advice. The seniors began to explain. Countless years ago, perhaps during the incipient God era or the early Heavenly Palace era, there was a cultivation method that allowed one to cultivate multiple kinds of divine powers at the same time. 2 kinds, 3 kinds, 4 kinds. Cultivating multiple kinds of divine powers at the same time allowed one to condense multiple star cores. Moreover, the size of the star cores was larger than that of ordinary people, and their divine powers were more abundant. However, this cultivation method was very dangerous. One careless move could cause one's body to explode and die. Moreover, it had high requirements for the cultivator. Only peerless geniuses could cultivate it. In particular, this cultivation method was very slow to improve one's cultivation base, and it was very difficult to break through the bottleneck. The further one cultivated, the harder it was to cultivate. Therefore, with the passage of time, this kind of cultivation method was slowly eliminated. By now, this kind of cultivation method had almost disappeared, and very few people practiced it. However, there was a benefit to this cultivation method. After cultivating it, one's divine power would be very abundant and powerful. With multiple kinds of divine powers at the same time, one's combat strength would be unparalleled. It was already very rare for Chu Qingkong to cultivate to this level. An ancient cultivation method? Is the universe myriad Dao scripture also an ancient cultivation method? Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. However, the universe myriad Dao scripture was a little different from what the old man had said. The universe myriad Dao scripture had no shortcomings other than the fact that it required multiple kinds of divine powers to cultivate at the same time. Another difference was that the star cores cultivated by the universe myriad Dao scripture were not larger than those of others. Therefore Lu Ming was very puzzled. It's an ancient cultivation method. The 9 extremities heavenly king's face changed. Haha, 9 extremities, you're going to lose. The 9 extremities heavenly king sneered. At this moment the situation in the fighting ring had changed significantly. Chu Qingkong used the ancient cultivation method and unleashed his full power. His strength skyrocketed and surpassed Chen Xingxian. Both of Chu Qingkong's astral cores were larger than the others. Although the second type of divine power had not awakened the secret arts of origin, it had awakened the divine power of origin factor. Moreover, it had been awakened twice. This allowed Chu Qingkong to fight against someone who was at a higher level than him. He had crossed the threshold of the 4th king of God realm and forced Chen Xingxian to retreat. Chen Xingxian is going to lose. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Chen Xingxian wasn't as strong as Su Wuya and Yi Jifan. Even though she had the strength of the 4th godly king layer, she wasn't as strong as him. The two exchanged more than a dozen moves. Chen Xingxian was hit by Chu Qingkong's long river of spear. She was knocked out of the battle platform and spat out a mouthful of blood. Chen Xingxian was defeated. Half of Chen Xingxuan's battle chi had been absorbed by Chu Qingkong. However, Chu Qingkong did not have enough battle chi to begin with. Even after absorbing half of the battle chi from the Thousand Saint Cliff, his battle suit did not upgrade to a golden one. It was still a purple one. Chu Qingkong is so powerful. He can actually fight someone who is at a higher level than him. Many people exclaimed. It was normal for such a supreme talent to fight someone who was at a higher level than him. However, if his opponent was a supreme talent of the same level, it would be abnormal and terrifying for him to fight someone who was at a higher level than him. Chu Qingkong is indeed the strongest supreme talent in the history of the War God clan. Other than the mysterious Di Jianni, no one is his match. Even Su Wuya is no match for him at the same level. Don't forget about Lu Ming. He is only in the 1st godly king layer. Yes, there is still Lu Ming and Qiuyu. They are also very powerful. They might be able to put up a fight. There are too many supreme talents this time. The 10 heroes of the holy capital are being suppressed like this? While the crowd was discussing, the 9 sabers heavenly king laughed in high spirits. Juju, it seems like you have lost the bet. Now that Chu Qingkong is in the top 3, you can give me your 10 Starcrux elixirs. The 9 sabers heavenly king laughed and looked at the 9 sabers heavenly king. 9 sabers, it's too early for you to be happy. The battle isn't over yet. The 9 sabers heavenly king said with a gloomy face. Do you still have hope? Chen Xingxian is obviously weaker than Di Jianni, Su Wuya and Chu Qingkong. Other than her, there is still Lu Ming to challenge. Do you think Lu Ming can make it to the top 3? Dream on. The 9 sabers heavenly king sneered. The 9 sabers heavenly king remained silent. In fact, he was not confident either. Although Lu Ming was strong, his cultivation was too low. He was only in the 1st godly king layer, which was 2 levels lower than the other supreme talents. They were all supreme talents. 2 levels of cultivation was almost insurmountable. Juju, are you trying to cheat? There are so many people watching. If you want to cheat, I can't do anything to you. The 9 sabers heavenly king continued to mock. After the battle, if I lose, I will give it to you. The 9 sabers heavenly king said. Hehe, I will let you wait a little longer. The 9 sabers heavenly king smiled faintly. Chu Qingkong has won this battle. Next, it is Chen Xingxuan's turn. The Grand Master announced. Chen Xingxian swallowed a divine elixir and adjusted her breath. When she was at her peak, she stepped out and went to the fighting ring. There were only 3 people she could challenge. Di Jianni, Su Wuya and Chu Qingkong. However, she had just been defeated by Chu Qingkong. Obviously, she could not continue to challenge Chu Qingkong. She only had Di Jianni and Su Wuya left. Chen Xingxian frowned. She was not confident in defeating any of the remaining people. In the end, she chose Su Wuya. However, the outcome of this battle was already decided. Su Wuya was stronger than Chen Xingxian. Moreover, Su Wuya had the support of the golden armor and his combat strength was even stronger. He could completely crush Chen Xingxian and defeat her. After defeating Chen Xingxian, Su Wuya did not return to his seat. That was because it was his turn to challenge. He only had one target and that was Di Jianni. Di Jianni, come down and fight. Let's see who will be number one this time. Su Wuya looked at Di Jianni. Swoosh. Di Jianni turned into a sword radiance and landed on the fighting ring. Everyone's eyes were filled with anticipation. This might very well be the pinnacle battle this time. Who would be number one this time? Moreover, the color of the golden armor was the same. It would be a battle of strength. Di Jianni's cultivation is only at the third heaven of the king god realm. Can he be a match for Su Wuya? Many people had such doubts. Boom. Suddenly, a fierce battle broke out. The two of them attacked at the same time. A shocking sword radiance collided with a finger shadow. Boom. After a few explosions, a figure retreated quickly. It was Su Wuya. In the first few moves, Su Wuya was at a disadvantage. Chapter 32-35. Bright moon in the sky. Su Wuya shouted. Moonlight seeped out of every inch of his skin and a crescent moon appeared above his head. The crescent moon in the sky scattered the moonlight. Every ray of moonlight was filled with killing intent and terrifying attacking power. Su Wuya had used all his strength. Previously he had used this to defeat Autumn Moon and Yi Jifan. Now, with the support of the golden armor, his power was undoubtedly even more terrifying. Clang. Suddenly, there was an earth-shattering sword chime from Di Jianni's body. Boundless sword chi burst out from his body. Swoosh. His entire body seemed to have turned into a ray of sword radiance and a combat sword as he charged towards Su Wuya. Wherever the sword radiance passed, the moonlight collapsed and the heavens and the earth seemed to be split into two. In the end, the sword radiance hit Su Wuya's crescent moon. Poof. The crescent moon trembled slightly before it was split into two halves. Su Wuya's body shook violently as he retreated. As he retreated, blood splattered in the air. Su Wuya retreated to the edge of the fighting ring before he stopped. His face was as pale as snow and there was a deep sword wound on his chest. Fresh blood flowed out. Su Wuya had been severely injured. Everyone was shocked. They had only exchanged a few blows and Su Wuya had been severely injured. This was beyond everyone's imagination. Di Jianni's combat strength is too terrifying. He is only in King God Realm 3rd Heaven. He defeated Su Wuya in such a short period of time. His combat strength must have surpassed Chu Qingkong's when he was at the same level. Definitely. Everyone discussed in shock. This made Chu Qingkong very unhappy. However, he looked at Di Jianni with a grave expression. Primordial Spirit Sword Body. Di Jianni might have cultivated the Primordial Spirit Sword Body. Suddenly, a sword principle expert exclaimed in shock. What? Primordial Spirit Sword Body? No wonder it is so terrifying. The others gasped. In the primitive universe there were various body constitutions. Of course, most of these body constitutions were not inborn. They were acquired through cultivation. It was equivalent to a secret skill, known as the secret skill of the physique. For example, Lu Ming cultivated the ancient god body, Wu Fan cultivated the ancient shaman body, Chu Qingkong cultivated the war god body, Su Wuya cultivated the bright moon body. In fact, all of these were obtained through cultivation. They were all secret techniques. However, this kind of secret technique was extremely difficult to cultivate. Some required coincidences and some required heaven-defying talent. Some races were naturally suited for certain physique secret techniques. For example, the descendants of the ancient gods that Lu Ming had met before were born with the bloodline of the ancient gods. It was much easier for them to cultivate the ancient god body. As for others, it was much more difficult for them to cultivate. They needed opportunities. There were different types of unique constitution secret arts, and some of them were easier to cultivate. Naturally, the prowess of each of them differed greatly as well. The ancient god body that Lu Ming cultivated was actually one of the easiest constitution secret techniques to cultivate. Apart from Lu Ming himself, he had also seen many people cultivate the ancient god body. Of course, it was relatively easy to get started with the ancient god body, but it was extremely difficult to cultivate it to the peak. Most people were stuck between the red-armored ancient god body, orange-armored ancient god body, and yellow-armored ancient god body. Lu Ming did not see anyone who had cultivated to the green-armored ancient god body. As for the original spirit sword body that Emperor Jinni had cultivated, it was extremely difficult and dangerous to cultivate. However, once it was cultivated, Its prowess was extremely terrifying. It was even more powerful than the ancient god body, ancient shaman body, and war god body. Of course, this was because the ancient god body had not been cultivated to the peak. If the ancient god body was cultivated to the blue-armored ancient god body or purple-armored ancient god body, its prowess would be earth-shattering. It was said that there were many other Constitution secret techniques in the primitive universe. Once cultivated, the prowess would be earth-shattering and unparalleled. They could suppress an era. Of course, the conditions to practice such a physique secret technique were also extremely harsh. Talent, perseverance, resources, and opportunities were all indispensable. You've lost. Emperor Jianghu stood in the middle of the fighting ring and said nonchalantly, I've lost. Su Wuya sighed and turned to leave the fighting ring. His origin secret technique had been broken and he was severely injured. He no longer had the strength to fight with Emperor Jianghu and he might as well admit defeat. After Su Wuya admitted defeat, the color of his battle suit returned to purple. The color of Emperor Jianghu's battle suit became even more dazzling. Now Emperor Jianghu was ranked first. Su Wuya was ranked second. Chu Qingkong was ranked third. Since Emperor Jianghu was ranked first, there was naturally no need to challenge him. Now the only person who was qualified to challenge was Lu Ming. Lu Ming, do you want to continue? The Grand Master's voice was heard as he asked Lu Ming. Of course. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. There was a terrifying fighting spirit that exploded from his body. Fight incantation 5 times fighting strength. While Emperor Jianghu and Su Wuya were fighting, Lu Ming had already tried to trigger the fight incantation to increase his fighting strength by 5 times. After all, the success rate of the fight incantation was only 10%. If it were to be triggered during the big fight, it would be too late. Hence, it was best to trigger it in advance. Who would Lu Ming challenge? Many people were looking forward to it. Su Wuya's battle suit had reverted from gold to purple. His strength had been greatly reduced and he might not be stronger than Chu Qingkong. There was more suspense. Would Lu Ming challenge Chu Qingkong or Su Wuya? Chu Qingkong, come down and fight me. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he pointed it at Chu Qingkong. As expected, he wants to challenge Chu Qingkong. Many people were enlightened. Previously, Lu Ming had been targeted by Chu Qingkong. Now it was normal for Lu Ming to challenge Chu Qingkong. Ha ha ha. Chu Qingkong sneered. He stepped onto the fighting ring and said, very good, very good. I couldn't challenge you before but you challenged me. I can torture you to death and get back some interest for my war god family's supreme talent. You will be the one to be tortured to death. If you are capable, don't admit defeat. Let's fight to the death. Lu Ming said. Fight to the death? You were chased by me like a stray dog. Now you think you can fight me just because you have upgraded to a golden battle suit? How naive. Fine, let's fight to the death. Chu Qingkong said coldly. His aura also became violent. His body swelled rapidly and turned into the body of the war god. War god strike. Chu Qingkong shouted and waved his long spear. A huge war god appeared and charged at Lu Ming. Ancient god body, divine dragon Dharma Laksana. Lu Ming turned into a green-armored ancient god that was a few hundred meters tall. Then, 36 nine-clawed dragons appeared and charged at Chu Qingkong. At the same time, the Gate of Domination appeared above Lu Ming's head and blasted at Chu Qingkong. At this moment, the ability that Lu Ming displayed was much stronger than that of the previous battle. Lu Ming had the support of the golden battle suit and the battle incantation that increased his combat strength by 5 times. He was terrifyingly strong. A series of attacks landed on the huge war god. The body of the war god was full of cracks and exploded. Chapter 32-36. The Gate of Domination continued to press down on Chu Qingkong. Chu Qingkong's expression changed drastically. Overbearing God Spear explode. Chu Qingkong shouted as he performed his origin secret technique, Overbearing God Spear. At the same time, the 2-star cores in his body began to operate rapidly, pushing his strength to the peak in an instant. He did not use his full strength earlier because he looked down on Lu Ming. He thought that he did not need to use his full strength to deal with Lu Ming. However, he knew that he was wrong as soon as they started to fight. Very wrong. Lu Ming was terrifyingly strong. He defeated his attack in an instant. River of Spear Principles. Chu Qingkong roared as he thrust his spear forward. Endless spear radiance gathered into a long river and rushed toward Lu Ming. Boom. The river of spear principles hit the gate of domination with a loud bang. The gate of domination shook but was blocked in the end. Amidst the endless waves of energy, Lu Ming and Chu Qingkong retreated backward at the same time. What? It's a draw? Someone exclaimed in disbelief. Lu Ming and Chu Qingkong had exchanged a few moves in a row. It was a dazzling scene. Only now did the crowd realize what had happened. They were extremely shocked. In their minds, Chu Qingkong should be able to suppress Lu Ming with an absolute advantage. Even if Lu Ming had the golden armor, he would not be able to do so. However, the result was different from what they had imagined. Lu Ming's combat strength is so strong. It's incredible. Chu Qingkong is using his full strength. It's incredible. Lu Ming is only in the first king god realm. He ran away not because he was afraid of fighting Chu Qingkong, but because he didn't want to. Many people exclaimed. Chu Qingkong was someone who could defeat Qian Xingxian. It was unbelievable that he could not suppress Lu Ming even though he had used his full strength. Even with the golden armor, it was impossible to increase his combat strength by so much. Obviously, Lu Ming's combat strength was amazing. They knew that Lu Ming ran away not because he was afraid of fighting Chu Qingkong, but because he did not want to. With Lu Ming's strength he could totally put up a fight. Those who had underestimated Lu Ming and thought that Lu Ming would not dare to fight against Chu Qingkong felt their faces burning. There's hope. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King's eyes lit up. As for the 9 Blades Heavenly King, his face turned gloomy. I don't believe it. Kill. Chu Qingkong roared and pushed his combat strength to the peak. He charged at Lu Ming again. Bang, bang. Lu Ming's gigantic body stepped forward, causing the platform to tremble. The gate of domination emitted an ancient radiance, suppressing forward. Meanwhile, Lu Ming brandished his spear and charged forward. The 2 giants fought fiercely on the battle platform. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. After dozens of moves, the 2 of them were still unable to determine a victor. One had to admit that Chu Qingkong's combat strength was extremely powerful. If it were not for the golden armor, Lu Ming would not have been his match. Of course, this was also because Lu Ming's cultivation was too weak. He was 2 levels lower than Chu Qingkong. Although they were both peerless geniuses, the gap between each level was extremely difficult to overcome. That was because one had all kinds of terrifying divine skills and secret skills, and so did the other party. It was too difficult to fight someone with a higher level. Strike of the God of War, mighty army! Chu Qingkong roared. His spear vibrated. Numerous gods of war appeared in the void. They rode on war horses and brandished their spears, charging at Lu Ming. The entire sky was shaking. It was filled with an oppressive aura, as if it was going to crush Lu Ming completely. Do you think you're the only one who knows Strike of the God of War? Take this. Strike of the God of War, mighty army! Lu Ming roared coldly. He brandished his spear. Numerous gods of war appeared in the sky. They rode on war horses and charged at Chu Qingkong. After so many years of cultivation, Lu Ming had cultivated Strike of the God of War to the 9th level. Its power was no less than the apocalyptic 3 strikes. What? You know it too? Chu Qingkong roared. His eyes were wide open in disbelief. Lu Ming had also mastered Strike of the God of War. Damn it. How dare you cultivate the secret skill of the God of War family? Outside, an elder of the God of War family shouted angrily with cold killing intent. Rumble. Thousands of war horses collided with each other, causing explosions. However, Chu Qingkong's Strike of the God of War was obviously more advanced. It had reached the 10th level and began to suppress Lu Ming. Thief, so what if you've secretly learned the secret skill of the God of War family? Without the support of the overbearing God's spear, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Chu Qingkong roared. He brandished the overbearing God's spear and the gods of war became more powerful. Overbearing God's spear, is it? Sorry, I have it too. Lu Ming said calmly. The divine spear in his hand disappeared. It was replaced by a stone spear that was filled with an ancient aura. It was exactly the same as the overbearing God spear in Chu Qingkong's hand. Overbearing God. Overbearing God spear. How can you have the overbearing God spear? This time, Chu Qingkong's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. He screamed hysterically. It was unbelievable to the extreme. Not only him but everyone was stunned. That's the overbearing God spear. Impossible. How can he have the overbearing God spear? 2 origin secret skills. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Lu Ming is also cultivating the ancient cultivation method. It must be, countless people shouted, unable to remain calm. They thought that Lu Ming was also cultivating the ancient cultivation method. Since he had mastered 2 different origin secret skills, it meant that he had mastered 2 different divine powers. Only the ancient cultivation method could control several different kinds of divine power. No wonder. No wonder Lu Ming's combat strength is so strong. It turns out that he's also cultivating the ancient cultivation method. Many people were enlightened. They thought that Lu Ming's combat strength was so strong because he had cultivated the ancient cultivation method. Impossible. Damn it. It's impossible. Some elders of the war god family were even more agitated. They were already so old, but they were still shouting like pigs. It was really hard to accept. Among the younger generation, Chu Qingkong was the only one in the entire war god family who could cultivate the overbearing god divine power and awaken the overbearing god spear from it. However, Lu Ming, an outsider, had also awakened the overbearing god spear. How ironic was this? When Chu Qingkong saw Lu Ming use the overbearing god spear, he was stunned and in a daze. How could Lu Ming miss such an opportunity? In the measure formula, a steady stream of divine power flowed into Lu Ming's body. Then this divine power rushed madly toward the overbearing god spear and the gate of domination. Starburst. Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear, performing the strongest move of the 3 strokes of annihilation. After using the overbearing god spear, the power of the spear Dao divine skill would undoubtedly be stronger. At the same time, the gate of domination emitted light and suppressed Chu Qingkong like a divine mountain. The 2 origin secret skills attacked together. Chu Qingkong was shocked and hurriedly put up a defense. However, it was still too late. The violent destructive power swept out and shrouded him, breaking through his layers of defense. Then the gate of domination pressed down. Boom! Chu Qingkong screamed. The bones in his hand were broken and he vomited blood. His body was sent flying. Dozens of bones in his body were broken. Chapter 32-37. Chu Qingkong flew out and landed heavily on the fighting ring. He vomited blood and dozens of bones were broken. He could not even maintain the war god body and the overbearing god spear. The overbearing god spear was the first to disappear. His body returned to normal. But Lu Ming did not plan to let Chu Qingkong go. The gate of domination shrunk and continued to press down on Chu Qingkong. Chu Qingkong's body was bent like a bow. All his internal organs were shattered. Then Lu Ming stepped on Chu Qingkong's face. "Ah, let me go." Chu Qingkong struggled crazily and kept roaring. His eyes were full of humiliation. He was a dignified genius, the strongest successor in the history of the war god family. Lu Ming had stepped on the giant's face in front of everyone. This was a great insult. He could not wait to tear Lu Ming into pieces. Bang! Lu Ming stomped hard on Chu Qingkong's face. Chu Qingkong's face was immediately in close contact with the ground. Blood splattered everywhere and all his teeth flew out. Just the word miserable was enough to describe it. "Ah, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your whole family. You damn bastard," Chu Qingkong roared hysterically. He had gone completely crazy. He was so mighty before, looking down on Lu Ming like an ant. He did not take Lu Ming seriously and even said that he would torture Lu Ming to death. But the result was the complete opposite. It was a great contrast. As proud as he was, he could not take it anymore. His self-esteem was severely damaged. In comparison, he was a joke, a laughable joke. This brat deserves to die. He deserves to die. Outside, the war god family's elders also roared angrily. They were like rampaging lions, their hair and beards all fluttering about. What? The younger generation is no match for him, so the older generation wants to step up. Is this the style of the war god family? 9 Extremes Heavenly King glanced at the people of the war god family coldly. His tone was full of sarcasm, which made the people of the war god family pale. "Jiudao, it seems that you are happy for nothing. Now that Chu Qingkong has been defeated, and Lu Ming has entered the top 3, you are the loser of our bet." The 9 Extinction Heavenly King looked at the 9 Sabers Heavenly King with a smile on his face. To be honest, the fact that Lu Ming was able to defeat Chu Qingkong was also out of his expectations. At the moment he was in a very good mood. "You," the 9 Sabers Heavenly King's expression was extremely ugly. For a moment he did not know how to respond. "Oh, I got it. The competition isn't over yet. There might be more variables," 9 Extinction Heavenly King said coldly. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King was so angry that he almost vomited blood. What kind of change was there? Chu Qingkong was trampled under Lu Ming's feet like a dead dog. What else could there be? Even if Lu Ming continued to challenge Di Jianyi and Su Wuya and was defeated, he would still be in third place. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King was openly mocking him. 10 Starcrux pills, here you go. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King gritted his teeth and took out 10 Starcrux pills from his storage ring with trembling hands. He threw them to the 9 Extinction Heavenly King and his heart was bleeding. Even though he was a Heavenly King, 10 Starcrux pills were enough to make him bleed. It was like cutting his flesh. By the side, the other Sir God experts looked at the 9 Extinction Heavenly King with envy. An ordinary Sir God would not be able to get 1 Starcrux pill, let alone 10. Haha, you are too kind. I shall accept it then. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King laughed heartily and kept the pills. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King wished he could stomp on the 9 Extinction Heavenly King's smiling face. Bam! A huge shoe print was imprinted on Chu Qingkong's face. Chu Qingkong's face was deformed. He roared and struggled, wanting to blow himself up. Unfortunately, he was restrained by Lu Ming and could not blow himself up. How dare you threaten me? Apologize and admit your mistake. Lu Ming's face was cold as he stomped on Chu Qingkong with his shoe. Ah, don't even think about it. I will tear you into pieces, Chu Qingkong roared. Bam! Bam! What greeted him was Lu Ming's ruthless kick. Enough, stop. Little brat, stop. The experts of the War God family outside roared. Their voices penetrated the spherical world and Lu Ming and the others could hear them. Nonsense. Let him apologize, admit his mistake and say that he is trash. Lu Ming curled his lips. The other party wanted to kill him. Lu Ming would not show any mercy to such an enemy. He wanted to beat the other party until he was convinced. At first, Chu Qingkong was still struggling. Slowly he gave in. He had no choice. Lu Ming was stubborn and unafraid of his threats. If he continued to struggle, he would only be tortured by Lu Ming. For Chu Qingkong this situation was like a year. I was wrong. I shouldn't have targeted you. I was blind. I am trash. In the end, Chu Qingkong said those words in humiliation. His heart was bleeding with every word he said. What a humiliation, what a great humiliation. The experts of the War God family all looked gloomy. They were emitting cold murderous intent. The War God family used to be glorious. They were known as the War God of the Taishu dynasty. Although they had declined, they were still proud of their identity. Chu Qingkong was known as the strongest genius in the history of the War God family. He represented the face of the War God family. Chu Qingkong was slapped in the face, which meant that the War God family was slapped in the face. One could imagine how they felt. That's more like it, Lu Ming smiled faintly. With a kick, he sent Chu Qingkong flying out of the fighting ring. Half of Chu Qingkong's battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming won this battle. After winning this battle, Lu Ming had already secured the top 3 positions. There was finally hope for Lan Shang. Phew! Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief and finally relaxed. To be honest, this battle was not easy. The genius of the Taishu dynasty was more powerful than Lu Ming had imagined. This time Lu Ming was lucky. Plus he had his own plan. He did not hunt for much battle chi at the beginning, so his ranking was low. He fought his way up and finally upgraded his battle suit. That was how he defeated Chu Qingkong. To be honest, if his battle suit was the same as Chu Qingkong's, he might not be able to defeat Chu Qingkong. In addition, Yi Jifan was also very strong. If he had not been defeated by Su Wuya, Lu Ming would not be confident to defeat him. No matter what, he had finally gotten into the top 3 this time. Lu Ming won this battle. Lu Ming, do you want to continue? The Grand Preceptor asked. Although the Preceptor was also very unhappy with Lu Ming, he was experienced and astute. There was no obvious change in his attitude. Everyone's heart trembled. Would Lu Ming continue to challenge him? They were looking forward to it. However, they were disappointed. Lu Ming shook his head and said, I'm not challenging anymore. Since he had gotten into the top 3, there was no need to continue. To be honest, he was not confident to continue. Su Wuya was at the peak of the 4th Heaven King God realm. Even with the help of the Golden Battle Suit, it would be difficult for him to defeat Su Wuya. Not to mention Di Jianyi. He was probably no match for him. His goal was to get into the top 3. That was enough. Chapter 32-38. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief when they heard that Lu Ming wasn't challenging anymore. They were afraid that Lu Ming would continue to challenge and reveal even more powerful trump cards. If that happened, they would be in a mess. He couldn't be any more perverted or they wouldn't be able to take it. Alright, then I announce that this meeting is over. You can come out now. The imperial advisor's voice reverberated throughout the hall. He then pressed his hand down, and a ray of light fell on the spherical world. Instantly, a black vortex appeared above Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the rest rushed into the vortex. In the next instant, everyone in the spherical world appeared outside the spherical world. The imperial advisor waved his hand and kept the spherical world. The top 10 this time, come here to receive your majesty's reward, the imperial advisor announced again. He then retreated behind the Saint Emperor and stood respectfully. Lu Ming, Di Jinni, Su Wuya, and the rest of the top 10 walked to the front of the Saint Emperor and bowed with cupped fists. Greetings, your majesty. Dispense with the formalities. The top 10 will receive a prefecture opening token. You will be given a token. The Saint Emperor waved his hand and 10 palace maids flew out. Each palace maid was holding a jade plate, and on the jade plate was a token. This was the prefecture opening token. In the Taishu dynasty, only those who had the prefecture opening token were qualified to open a prefecture and rule over a region. It was considered to be recognized by the government, and other experts would go and join them. You are all heroes of this era. I hope that you will develop well. I hope that there will be more heavenly kings in the future. The Saint Emperor said. Thank you, your majesty. Lu Ming and the rest thanked the Saint Emperor and kept the tokens. Countless people around them were envious, and they wished they could take the tokens for themselves. Also, the top 10 will receive a reward. You can make a request of me. Let's start with the third place. Lu Ming, what do you want? Just say it. The Saint Emperor looked at Lu Ming with a smile. Your Majesty, Lu Ming's condition is that your Majesty pardon Blue Merchant's crimes and release the Blue Merchant from the Imperial Guard. Lu Ming cupped his fists and stated his conditions. Blue Merchant? The Sage Emperor frowned in confusion. No, absolutely not. Blue Merchant has committed a great crime. How can he be pardoned? Before the Saint Emperor could speak, Wu Fan shouted. They had worked so hard to capture the Blue Merchant, so how could they let the Blue Merchant go? A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He looked at Wu Fan and shouted, Wu Fan, how dare you? His Majesty the Sacred Emperor hasn't said anything yet, and you're already talking nonsense. From your tone, are you ordering the Sacred Emperor around? As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. Wu Fan's face turned pale in an instant, revealing a look of fear. He said in a trembling voice, You don't slander me. I just feel that Blue Merchant is guilty of an extremely heinous crime. So what if he's guilty? You think that in the Taishu dynasty the Sacred Emperor doesn't have the right to pardon someone, right? Lu Ming continued to shout. Wu Fan was so scared that he almost peed his pants. His body trembled and he was dumbfounded. This was a serious matter. Ordering the Sacred Emperor. Questioning the Sacred Emperor. Either of these was a crime punishable by death. In the Taishu dynasty, the Sacred Emperor was the sky and he could cover the sky with one hand. Even if Wu Fan was 100 times more courageous, he wouldn't dare to have such thoughts. He was used to being arrogant because his father was the state preceptor and he was a peerless talent. He usually acted high and mighty and scolded everyone he met. Just now it was purely an instinctive reaction. He hated Lu Ming and Blue Merchant to the core. When he heard that Lu Ming wanted to pardon the Blue Merchant, he blurted it out without thinking. He didn't expect that Lu Ming would catch him red-handed. You don't talk nonsense. Wu Fan couldn't stop muttering and he was about to cry. The Sacred Emperor frowned. The state preceptor was shocked when he saw this. Bastard, kneel down and beg for forgiveness from the Sacred Emperor. The state preceptor shouted at Wu Fan. Plop. Wu Fan's legs went soft and he knelt down in front of the Sacred Emperor. He screamed, Your Majesty, please forgive me. I really didn't mean that. Even if you gave me 10,000 times more courage, I wouldn't dare to question your Majesty. Please forgive me, your Majesty. Wu Fan begged with tears and snot running down his face. Your Majesty, Wu Fan really didn't mean that. He was just anxious just now. The state preceptor also pleaded with the Sacred Emperor. Then, the Crown Prince stepped forward and pleaded with him. The Sacred Emperor frowned and said, Let Wu Fan face the wall for 100 years as punishment. Thank you, your Majesty. The state preceptor hurriedly thanked him and then scolded Wu Fan. Bastard, thank his Majesty for his kindness. Thank you, your Majesty. Wu Fan kowtowed. The Sacred Emperor waved his hand and asked Wu Fan to leave. Wu Fan retreated to one side and roared in his heart. He was filled with endless killing intent. This time he had really embarrassed himself. It was all Lu Ming's fault. It was all Lu Ming's fault. He blamed everything on Lu Ming. If he had the chance, he would definitely chop Lu Ming into pieces to vent his anger. What happened to Blue Merchant? When was he captured by the Imperial Guards? The Sacred Emperor asked. Immediately, a burly man in iron armor walked out and bowed. Your Majesty, it's like this. This burly man in iron armor was the commander of the Imperial Guards. He immediately told the Sacred Emperor about the Blue Merchant. I see. The Sacred Emperor muttered. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Since you have made this request, I will naturally fulfill it. I pardon Blue Merchant. Go bring Blue Merchant here. Yes. The commander of the Imperial Guards immediately ordered one of his subordinates to bring Blue Merchant here. This time Wu Fan did not dare to say a word. Not long after, Blue Merchant was brought here. Father. Lan Ling was extremely excited when she saw Blue Merchant. She quickly ran over. Lu Ming also hurried over. He found that Blue Merchant was fine except for his weak aura and low spirit. It was obvious that he had not been punished in the Imperial Guards. This was most likely due to Holy Thousand Heavenly King. Greetings, Your Majesty. Blue Merchant bowed to the Sacred Emperor. Blue Merchant, we haven't seen each other for a long time. The Sacred Emperor said. I'm a cripple now. I don't dare to meet Your Majesty. Blue Merchant said. I'm curious. What's the relationship between you and Lu Ming? He actually wasted a request to save you. The Sacred Emperor said casually. Many people, including Blue Merchant himself, were shocked. The Sacred Emperor was the ruler of the Taishu dynasty. His casual words often had a deep meaning. Moreover, Blue Merchant's identity was too sensitive. He was Jingyu's teacher, and Jingyu had committed a serious crime back then. However, Lu Ming did not hesitate to waste a chance to make a request to the king in order to save Lan Shang. What was the relationship between Lu Ming and Blue Merchant? Or was there a relationship between Lu Ming and Jingyu? In an instant, many people thought of many things. Your Majesty, Lu Ming is my son-in-law. He and my daughter are in love with each other. Blue Merchant bowed and said. Oh. The Sacred Emperor said softly. At this moment, Lan Ling stepped forward and bowed. Then she removed her disguise and returned to her original appearance. Chapter 32-39. When Lan Ling regained her original appearance, many people's eyes lit up and they were stunned. You are indeed a peerless beauty. You and Lu Ming are a match made in heaven. The Saint Emperor smiled. Since he was the son-in-law of Blue Merchant, it made sense for him to save Blue Merchant at all costs. Hence no one thought much of it. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. At this time he could only brace himself and admit it. Otherwise, if the Saint Emperor suspected that he was related to him, it would be troublesome. Damn it. When Wu Fan saw Lan Ling's appearance, he roared in his heart. His eyes were burning with anger. When he thought of how a beauty like Lan Ling had become Lu Ming's woman, his eyes turned red with jealousy. Lu Ming is really lucky. I heard that Autumn Moon is also his wife. It's normal for a man to have multiple wives. However, it's rare to have two such beautiful women as his wife. It's a great joy in life. Many people sighed. Some young men especially were envious and jealous. Many young women sighed. Lu Ming was a supreme talent and yet he was already married. It was a pity that they no longer had a chance. Su Wuya, do you have any requests? The Saint Emperor turned to Su Wuya and asked. After Su Wuya made a request, it was Emperor Sword's turn to make a request. Their request would not be too excessive. Although they could make any request, they naturally would not make requests that were too excessive. If their requests made the Saint Emperor have a bad impression of them, they would lose more than they gained. Hence, the Saint Emperor agreed to their requests without hesitation. Alright, the conference has come to a successful end. The Taishu dynasty has produced many supreme talents. Congratulations. I will be holding a grand banquet for 3 days. Everyone come. The Saint Emperor's voice was heard. Thank you, Saint Emperor. Everyone cupped their fists and thanked him. The 3-day banquet was a celebration for the entire nation. After the banquet ended, Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, Lan Ling, and Blue Merchant returned to their residence. They would report to the Taishu Imperial Family Academy 3 days later. Lan Shu, how's your body? Lu Ming asked worriedly. He could see that Blue Merchant's body was not in good condition. His soul power was much weaker than before. My soul was injured in the battle that day. However, it's nothing serious. You don't have to worry. Blue Merchant smiled. Although Lan Shang said that, Lu Ming knew that Lan Shang's injuries were not light. Just as he had said, it would be very difficult for his soul to recover. Lanshu, is there any way for you? Lu Ming asked. Treasures that can heal one's soul are extremely rare. There's no need to force it now. Lu Ming, your goal now is to cultivate well. Once your cultivation reaches a certain level, you can establish your own family and expand your influence. When you have enough strength, you can overturn Jinghu's case. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming nodded. Although he had obtained the token to establish a family and Autumn Moon had one as well, there were 2 tokens in total. However, if he wanted to establish a family, he had to increase his cultivation first. To establish a family, he had to be at least in the 4th layer of the Divine King Realm or even the 7th layer of the Divine King Realm. Lu Ming's cultivation was still low. Your priority now is to cultivate well in the Taishu Imperial Family Academy and use the resources there to increase your strength quickly. I will find some time to help you ask about the Primordial Idol. The Primordial Idol is a must for establishing a family, Blue Merchant said. Primordial Idol? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right. It's not that easy to establish a family. First, you have to obtain the token to establish a family. Then you have to obtain the Primordial Idol. Once the Primordial Idol is consecrated, it will emit a mysterious wave of energy. It has an extremely mysterious effect on comprehending the Origin Divine Power Factor and Origin Secret Arts. Only the Primordial Idol can attract many Sky Prides and experts to join you. Only then can you develop your strength quickly. Otherwise, even if you can establish a family, it will be difficult to expand your influence. Blue Merchant explained. It can help one comprehend the Origin Divine Power Factor and Origin Secret Arts. Lu Ming was shocked and immediately thought of the Myriad God Cliff in Starmoon Ancient City. The Myriad God Cliff had many idols that could help one comprehend the Origin Divine Power Factor. Primordial Idol? Wait. Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He thought of the idols that he had snatched from Blue Maple in the Ghost region. Blue Maple's purpose in entering the Ghost region was to obtain that idols. Later, Lu Ming led the former Dark Ape fighting tribe to chase Blue Maple away. Lu Ming also kept that idols. He never knew what the idols were used for. At this moment, Lu Ming's heart couldn't help but beat faster. Lanshu, I have an idols here. Let me show you. Then Lu Ming set up a formation in the courtyard. The primordial idol was too tall. If he took it out directly, it would be seen by people outside. This formation could conceal it. After setting up the formation, Lu Ming waved his hand and the idols that he had obtained from the ghost region fell in the courtyard. This is... After seeing the idols, Blue Merchant's eyes widened in surprise. He looked at them carefully. Then he was excited and ecstatic. He said in a trembling voice, "Primordial idol. It's really the primordial idol. Lu Ming, how did you get the primordial idol?" "It's really the primordial idol." Lu Ming was also delighted. Then he told Blue Merchant how he had obtained the primordial idol. "I see. It seems like Blue Maple's purpose in entering the ghost region is to obtain the primordial idol." Blue Merchant nodded. Lu Ming also understood why Blue Maple had mustered so many people to enter the ghost region. Blue Maple was very ambitious. He wanted to enter the top 10 in the Taishu dynasty's assembly and obtain the qualification to open a condominium. Therefore he wanted to obtain the primordial idol. Unfortunately, Blue Maple did everything he could, but in the end he didn't achieve any of the conditions. "Lanshu, is this really the primordial idol? Why does it feel so ordinary? Apart from the fact that it's very hard, there's no difference between it and other idols?" Lu Ming asked the question that had been bothering him. He had studied this idol more than once, but he didn't find anything strange about it. If not for the fact that Lu Maple had worked so hard for this statue, Lu Ming would have thrown it away long ago. "It's because it hasn't been consecrated yet," Blue Merchant said. "Consecrated?" Lu Ming was skeptical. "It's true. According to legends, the primordial idol was created during the incipient god era. The ancestors used the bones of the primordial god spirit and other rare materials to create it. It's really magical. Until now, this method of creating it has been lost. That's why each primordial idol is priceless. However, if you want to make the primordial idol work magically, you need to consecrate it. Actually, it's very simple. You just need to find the items related to the primordial god spirit. For example, the flesh and blood of the primordial god spirit, the bones of the primordial god spirit, or the weapons that the primordial god spirit used to use. You can consecrate them to trigger the magical power of the primordial idol," Blue Merchant explained. Chapter 3240. Lu Ming finally knew how to consecrate the primordial deity statue. However, there was another problem. How could he get the flesh, bones, or weapons of the primordial deity statue? Ever since the Heavenly Palace era, the primordial deity statue had disappeared from the world. Some people said that the primordial deity statue had been extinct for a long time. Lu Ming told him about his worries. You don't have to worry about that. The Taishu dynasty controls a secret realm where these things exist. After a while, you should be able to explore it. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. It was fine as long as there was a way. Actually, powerful forces like the 27 Heavenly King Palaces all have primordial deity statues. That's why they can attract many experts to join them. I think your primordial deity statue is of a high grade. After it's consecrated, it will definitely attract many experts to join you. It will play a crucial role in your development. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming nodded. The two chatted for a while. Lu Ming continued to ask Blue Merchant questions about cultivation. At this moment, the Taishu dynasty was in a state of turmoil. In a magnificent palace in the Crown Prince's palace. Your Highness, there are many geniuses this time. Should we try to recruit them? An old man asked the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince sat on the throne. He seemed to be in his 30s. He was dignified and had a domineering aura. I'll leave it to you. The Crown Prince waved his hand. Also, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant are close. I feel that he's not simple. Should we get rid of him? The old man asked again. Although Lu Ming is talented, he's only in the first layer of the King God realm. It doesn't matter if we get rid of him or not. The Crown Prince said casually. Lu Ming was talented, but a first layer of the King God realm was no different from an ant in the Crown Prince's eyes. He didn't care. I think we should find a chance to get rid of him. At this moment, a woman's voice came from outside the palace. It was extremely seductive. Just her voice alone was enough to make a man burn. A gust of fragrant wind drifted over, and then, a graceful and beautiful woman walked in. If Lu Ming were here, he would definitely be shocked. The reason for that was because this woman was Dark Knight Rose. Lu Ming had left the Qintian Star Zone to investigate the theft of the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. After entering the Qutian Star Zone, the first place he went to was the Devil Capital Mountain. The Dark Knight Rose was the daughter of the Dark Knight Demon King, the master of the Devil Capital Mountain. Back then, when the Devil Capital Mountain was destroyed, the Dark Knight Devil King died in battle. However, the Dark Knight Rose didn't die. Who would have thought that she would come to the Crown Prince's residence? Dark Knight Rose. The Crown Prince murmured as he looked at the Dark Knight Rose. His eyes were filled with passion. Crown Prince, Lu Ming must die. Dark Knight Rose said coldly. Her eyes were filled with killing intent and desire. All right, Rose, if you want to kill him, then we'll kill him. The Crown Prince waved his hand and laughed. As he spoke, he got up and walked toward Dark Knight Rose. He reached out his arm and hugged Dark Knight Rose's slender waist. The old man's figure flashed and disappeared from the main hall. Crown Prince, leave this matter to me. Dark Knight Rose said. All right, I'll listen to you. Come, let's get to work. The Crown Prince carried Dark Knight Rose and walked toward his room. In another huge hall in the Taishu dynasty's palace. This palace was the residence of the current second prince. At this moment, the second prince was discussing something with a few people. Second prince, I think that Lu Ming's background is not simple. We have to investigate it thoroughly. Someone suggested. All right, I'll send someone to get close to Lu Ming and investigate Lu Ming's background. We'll see if we can recruit him for our own use. If it's not possible, we can eliminate him if necessary. The second prince said with a smile. His eyes shone with wisdom. Great Void Sank Capital, Imperial Advisor's residence. Lu Ming, I swear that I'm not human if I don't kill you. Wu Fan let out a furious roar, causing some of the servants to tremble. At the same time, in the Lan family's residence, the War God clan's residence, and the Abysmal Heavenly King's residence, cold murderous intent filled the air. Someone said that they wanted to take Lu Ming's head. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Today was the day that Lu Ming and the rest would join the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. The Great Void Sank Capital was vast and boundless. In the north of the Sank Capital, there was a huge residence. The gate of the residence was tall and majestic. On both sides of the gate, there were 18 stone pillars that were 1,000 feet tall. On each of the stone pillars, there was a divine dragon statue that was extremely majestic. This was the gate of the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. Early in the morning, a large number of people gathered in front of the gate. They were the geniuses who were going to join the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court this time. In the meeting held by the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court, as long as one passed the first 2 rounds, they would be able to join the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. There were more than 100,000 people who passed the first round. Lu Ming, Autumn Moon and Lan Ling were also in the crowd, waiting quietly. Rumble. The gate opened and a few middle-aged men walked out. "We are the teachers of the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. We welcome you to the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. Now line up and register your information in order. Then follow us to the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court," one of the tall and thin men said. Then, everyone lined up and registered their information one by one. After half a day, the registration was completed. Everyone followed the middle-aged men and entered the gate. As soon as they entered the gate, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. What came into view was a series of buildings. They were densely packed and incomparably majestic. The most eye-catching thing was the many palaces floating in mid-air, emitting divine light. Let me introduce to you. Under normal circumstances, killing is not allowed in the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. If you want to kill, there is a fixed place. Also, in the Sacred Court, there is a group of prodigies who stayed to cultivate. However, some of the most powerful prodigies have already cultivated and entered the borders to train in the army. As for the previous group, almost all of them have left to train in various places. You also have to work hard to cultivate and improve. In the future, you will enter the army and other places to train, accumulate military merits and soar to the sky. The tall and thin middle-aged man's saliva flew everywhere as he spoke with great passion. Many people were also excited by his words. Also, in the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court, there are many cultivation holy lands with heaven-defying effects. However, if you want to cultivate, you have to pay a corresponding price. Then, the tall and thin middle-aged man introduced the cultivation holy lands in the Sacred Court. After a full half an hour, he said, "Well, that's all for my introduction. The top 10 prodigies follow me. The rest of you follow the other teachers and arrange your accommodations." Then the other elders led the others and flew away. Lan Ling also left with them, leaving only the top 10 prodigies and the tall and thin middle-aged man. "You are the top 10 prodigies and have obtained the qualification to open a mansion. Naturally, you have some privileges. Follow me," the tall and thin middle-aged man said. Chapter 32:41. Lu Ming and the others followed the middle-aged man. After a while, they arrived in front of a floating palace. "This is where you will live in the future. There are many large formations in this palace, such as the Spirit Gathering Formation. It will be very beneficial for your cultivation," the middle-aged man introduced. Everyone's eyes lit up. The treatment of the top 10 was indeed different. That's not all. Many cultivation sacred grounds are open to you unconditionally. You don't have to pay a price. You can cultivate as much as you want. The middle-aged man continued. This made Lu Ming even happier. They could cultivate as much as they wanted in many cultivation sacred grounds in the Great Void Imperial Academy. That was awesome. The treatment of the top 10 was too good. "Alright, you can choose a palace to live in. Come to me if you have any questions," the middle-aged man said and then turned to leave. Lu Ming and the others began to choose their palaces. The palaces looked similar. They chose one at random. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu chose the 2 palaces that were close to each other. Lu Ming took out his identity token and swiped it at the door. The door opened automatically. "It's indeed extraordinary," Lu Ming exclaimed as he walked into the palace. The palace was huge and magnificent. There were many rooms, courtyards, fake mountains and everything else. Moreover, the divine qi was shockingly rich. Lu Ming took a deep breath and the divine qi rushed into his mouth. Moreover, he felt his mind calm down here. He could comprehend all kinds of divine skills and secret techniques faster here. The effect of cultivation here was much better than in the Starry Camp. Not to mention anything else, just this point alone was enough to explain why so many people wanted to join the Great Void Imperial Academy. After walking around, Lu Ming came to Qiu Yu's palace and found that it was similar. "Qiu Yu, let's go to those cultivation sacred grounds," Lu Ming said. He couldn't wait to go to those cultivation holy lands to take a look. "Sure." Qiu Yu smiled. The 2 of them left the palace together and flew in a random direction. The first thing he had to do was figure out the map of the Great Void Imperial Academy. "Are you Lu Ming and Miss Autumn Moon?" Just as the 2 of them flew out of the palace, a clear voice rang out. Lu Ming looked over and saw a young woman walking towards them. The young woman was very beautiful. She could be said to be a peerless beauty. Compared to Autumn Moon and Lan Ling, she was not much inferior. She was wearing a black swordsman's robe, which added to her heroic spirit. You are? Lu Ming revealed a curious look. I'm a student of the Great Void Imperial Academy. I'm from the previous batch. The woman smiled. So it's senior sister. Lu Ming cupped his hands. My name is Chui Wei. I've seen the two of you in the previous meeting. I admire you and want to make friends with you. The young woman said with a smile. She was extremely amiable, making one feel as if they were bathed in a spring breeze. Miss Chui Wei is too polite. Those who can enter the Great Void Imperial Academy are peerless geniuses. The two of us are just lucky. Lu Ming said modestly. Qiuyu didn't say anything. With Lu Ming around, Qiuyu usually didn't speak. She just listened quietly. Are the two of you going to the Cultivation sacred grounds to cultivate? Chui Wei turned her gaze and smiled. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. There was nothing to hide. The two of you are new here. I'm afraid you're not familiar with the terrain here. Moreover, there are many cultivation grounds in the Great Void Imperial Academy. I'm afraid it won't be easy to find them. I happen to be free so I can introduce them to you, Chui Wei said. Then I'll have to trouble you, Miss Chui Wei. Lu Ming cupped his fists. The Great Void Imperial Academy had a vast territory. The terrain was indeed troublesome for them as they were new here. It would be much better if someone introduced them to them. What kind of cultivation do the two of you want to cultivate? Chui Wei asked. It should be related to the divine power of origin factor. Lu Ming said. He was most interested in this aspect. After all, he had 10 types of divine force to comprehend. This type of cultivation sacred ground would save him a lot of time. To comprehend the origin divine force factor, we naturally have to go to the divine statue garden. The two of you follow me. Chui Wei smiled and led the way. Lu Ming and Qiuyu followed. The Great Void Imperial Academy was indeed vast. There were countless buildings. After walking around for a long time, they arrived in front of a huge building. If no one led them, they would have gotten dizzy. This is the Divine Statue Garden. The effects of comprehending the origin divine force factor or origin secret technique are excellent. However, if you want to cultivate in the Divine Statue Garden, you have to meet certain requirements. Chui Wei said. Requirements? Didn't the top 10 have no requirements and can cultivate to their heart's content? Lu Ming said. The top 10 have very good treatment and can cultivate to their heart's content in many cultivation sacred grounds. However, the Divine Statue Garden is not included. Chui Wei explained. It can't be, right? Lu Ming was speechless. He liked the Divine Statue Garden the most, but he couldn't cultivate to his heart's content. Then what are the requirements to cultivate in the Divine Statue Garden? Do you need divine crystals or contribution points? Lu Ming asked. Many places had similar requirements. None of them. Chui Wei shook her head and said, You need purgatory points. Purgatory points? Lu Ming and Qiuyu were puzzled. What were purgatory points? In the Great Void Imperial Academy you can't fight. However, there is a place called the Purgatory Arena. You can fight to your heart's content there. Many geniuses will go there to temper themselves. Most importantly, you can hide your identity in the Purgatory Arena and not be recognized by others. After fighting in the Purgatory Arena and winning, you can obtain Purgatory points. Purgatory points are used to cultivate in the Divine Statue Garden. Chui Wei explained. I see. What a strange rule. Lu Ming mumbled. Forget it, let's go somewhere else to cultivate. Lu Ming said. He would first familiarize himself with the place and increase his strength before going to the Purgatory Arena to fight and obtain Purgatory points. Otherwise, even though Lu Ming had obtained third place, it would be dangerous for him to go to the Purgatory Arena. One had to know that the previous batch of students had cultivated here for many years. Who knew what cultivation they had reached? There are many cultivation sacred grounds in the Great Void Imperial Academy, but there are only a few famous ones. They are the Divine Statue Garden, the Yin-Yang Millstone, the Myriad Tribulation Pagoda, the Soul Refining Abyss, Chui Wei introduced. Among them, the Divine Statue Garden was a place to comprehend origin divine power and origin secret arts. The Yin-Yang Millstone could temper one's divine power and divine body. It could even increase one's cultivation. The Myriad Tribulation Pagoda was a place to train one's combat ability and secret arts. The Soul Refining Abyss was a place to temper one's soul. The Purgatory Arena was a place to fight to the death and obtain purgatory points. In addition, there were also places to train one's refining skills, alchemy, formation, and so on. There were all kinds of sacred grounds here. Cui Wei brought Lu Ming and Qiu Yu around the Great Void Imperial Academy to familiarize themselves with these cultivation sacred grounds. Chapter 32-42. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon thanked Cui Wei. Without Cui Wei leading the way, they would have had plenty of time to explore the Great Void Sacred Institute. It's my honor to be able to befriend two peerless geniuses. If there's anything you need, feel free to send me a message. Cui Wei smiled. After exchanging their methods of communication, Cui Wei left. Young master, where do you want to go to cultivate? Autumn Moon asked. Let's go to the Yin-Yang Millstone first. Lu Ming said. The Yin-Yang Millstone could temper one's divine body and divine power. It could also raise one's cultivation base. If one's divine power and divine body were raised, one's combat strength would also increase. Of course he would choose the Yin-Yang Millstone. I want to go too. Autumn Moon nodded. Immediately, the two of them headed towards the Yin-Yang Millstone. At the entrance of the Yin-Yang Millstone, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon were stopped. That was because one needed divine crystals to cultivate in the Yin-Yang Millstone. Moreover, the number of divine crystals required was shockingly high. However, when the two of them showed their identity medallions, they naturally did not need to pay any divine crystals. So the two of you are the top 10 geniuses of this competition. You don't need to pay any divine crystals to cultivate in the Yin-Yang Millstone. You can cultivate for as long as you want. These are 2 teleportation medallions. Take them. Cultivating in the Yin-Yang Millstone is still a little dangerous. When you feel that you can't take it anymore, activate the teleportation medallion. It will bring you out. An old man guarding the Yin-Yang Millstone handed Lu Ming and Autumn Moon a teleportation medallion each. The two of them put it away and thanked him. Then they walked through the gate. Following a mountain path, they soon arrived at the peak of a mountain. In the center of the mountain, there was an unfathomably deep cave. Lu Ming saw that on the flat ground around the cave, there were many young men and women sitting cross-legged, cultivating. He also saw someone jump down from the cave and into the cave. On the flat ground, there were flashes of light and figures suddenly appeared. They were all as tired as dead dogs. The moment they appeared, they hurriedly swallowed elixirs to recover. Obviously, the Yin-Yang Millstone was inside the cave. Some of them went in and some of them came out. These people have such profound cultivation bases. Lu Ming sensed a little and was secretly shocked. The auras of those young men and women were intimidating. Most of them were at the 3rd sky of King God realm. Some of them were even stronger than that. Almost all of these people were from the previous batch of geniuses who had joined the Taishu Imperial Family Academy. They had been cultivating in the Taishu Imperial Family Academy for many years, and their cultivation levels were unfathomable. It was said that the strongest group of people had already gone out to train. Those who were still in the Taishu Imperial Sacred Academy could not be considered very strong. That is, then Lu Ming and Autumn Moon were attracted by a huge stone tablet. Not far away there was a huge stone tablet. It was tens of thousands of feet tall, and names appeared on it. Jianghu. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes widened because he saw a name at the top of the stone tablet. Jianghu. Jianghu's name was at the top. You must be new here. This stone tablet has the record of those who have cultivated in the Yin-Yang Millstone for the longest time. In the Yin-Yang Millstone you have to bear a great pressure. No one can cultivate for a long time. Jianghu holds the record for the longest time. He cultivated for 999 days in a row. A young man explained. He was amazed at the end of his explanation. It's a record tablet. Lu Ming's heart jumped. He took a closer look and saw that there was a time record behind each name. Jianghu held the record. He cultivated for 999 days in a row in the Yin-Yang Millstone. The second was 889 days, which was more than 100 days less than Jianghu. Lu Ming saw Blue Merchant's name at the 10th place. He had cultivated for 732 days. There were a total of 1,000 names on the stone tablet. Obviously, this was not the record of one batch of students, but the record of all the geniuses since the Taishu Imperial Sacred Academy was established. Lu Ming glanced at it and then walked towards the cave with Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon, go for it. Young master, you too. The two of them smiled at each other and then jumped into the Yin-Yang Millstone. The moment he leaped into the Yin-Yang Millstone, Lu Ming felt a powerful force pulling him, causing him to fall rapidly. However, after a while the falling momentum stopped. Thereafter, Lu Ming felt a terrifying force pressing on his body. His body trembled and almost exploded. He hurriedly circulated his divine power to block it. Only then did he feel slightly better. That is, afterward, Lu Ming looked around and his pupils involuntarily constricted. The world was filled with two different colors of light. One was red, the other was white. The two colors were two types of energy. These two types of energy occupied one side and formed two huge millstones. They were rotating slowly as if they were going to crush everything. Lu Ming was still at the edge of the millstone, but he was being pulled towards the center of the millstone by a force. The closer he was to the center of the millstone, the more terrifying the crushing force was. Lu Ming's divine power trembled. Is this the yin-yang millstone? It's terrifying. I have to block it, Lu Ming growled. All his divine power exploded. His ancient god heart was beating violently. His muscles bulged and he used all his strength to defend himself. At this moment, Lu Ming followed the force and entered the center of the two millstones. Suddenly, Lu Ming's body trembled violently. The divine power around him kept vibrating. A terrifying force rushed into his divine power defense and crushed his divine body. It was as if it was going to tear his divine body apart. Waves of pain spread throughout his body. Block it! Lu Ming gritted his teeth and resisted with his divine power and divine body. The millstone kept rotating. The two types of energy intertwined and crushed Lu Ming's body. Persevere, persevere, Lu Ming gritted his teeth and persevered. Unknowingly, he had been cultivating in the yin-yang millstone for 2 hours. Lu Ming felt that his divine body was about to collapse. There was a tearing pain. In this place, divine power couldn't defend against all the forces. No matter how strong one's divine power was, there would be a force that would rush into the divine power defense and attack the divine body. If the divine body wasn't strong, no matter how strong one's divine power was, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Nestle, this is too difficult. It's only been 2 hours, but I feel like 2 years have passed. How did Senior Jianghu persevere for 999 days? It's amazing, Lu Ming exclaimed. However, at the same time he also realized the benefits. In the process of persevering and being crushed by the yin-yang millstone, there was a mysterious force that seeped into his divine body and divine power. It made his divine body and divine power stronger slowly. This speed of improvement was many times faster than when he was cultivating step by step outside. It was really effective. Let's continue. Lu Ming continued to grit his teeth and persevere. 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. Soon Lu Ming had persevered in the yin-yang millstone for 2 days. Chapter 32-43. After 2 days in the yin-yang millstone, Lu Ming had reached his limit. Cracks began to appear on his body. He looked like a cracked porcelain that would shatter at any moment. Pain and fatigue were intertwined. Lu Ming wanted to have a good sleep. If this continued, he would really be crushed to death by the yin-yang millstone. It's about time. Let's go out first. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and took out the teleportation talisman. He injected his divine power into it and a force enveloped Lu Ming. In the next moment, Lu Ming disappeared from the yin-yang millstone and appeared outside the entrance. Hoo-hoo! As soon as he came out, Lu Ming gasped for breath. He then took out a few divine pills and stuffed them into his mouth. He then sat down cross-legged and started cultivating the universe myriad Dao technique. There were experts from the Great Void Imperial family guarding this place. No one dared to cause trouble here, so he could recover to his heart's content. After 3 days, Lu Ming had completely recovered to his peak state. He was in great condition. My cultivation and divine body have improved a little. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After 2 days of grinding, his cultivation base and divine body had improved a little. It was very difficult to improve one's cultivation after reaching the Divine King realm. Every step required a lot of energy and resources. He had only cultivated for 2 days. It was very rare for him to make such progress. Continue. Lu Ming rushed into the yin-yang millstone again and started the hellish cultivation. The second time, Lu Ming persisted for a little longer. He lasted for 3 days. It's only been 3 days. Senior Jianghu has lasted 999 years. The difference is too big. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. What he didn't know was that there were very few people who could last more than a day in the yin-yang millstone. Many people could only last for a few hours on their first or second time. There were even some who could last for a few minutes before being defeated. After 3 days, Lu Ming came out and continued to recover. He felt that his cultivation and divine body had improved a little. Then he continued to enter. Just like that, Lu Ming cultivated in the yin-yang millstone wholeheartedly. Every time he reached his limit, he would come out and recover when he was tired. Day after day, year after year. Slowly, Lu Ming could last longer in the yin-yang millstone. From the first 2 days, 3 days, 10 days, 20 days, cultivation knew no time. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had cultivated in the yin-yang millstone for 100 years. At this time he could last 3 years in the yin-yang millstone. His harvest was also huge. Not to mention other things, his god body had become 1 level stronger. His muscles, bones and internal organs had become more tenacious and powerful. His ancient god heart was beating with vigorous vitality. The stronger the divine body, the more stamina he had. When he used the ancient god body, he could last longer. At the same time, when he activated the battle formula to increase his fighting power by 5 times, he could last longer. Lu Ming's cultivation level had also improved significantly. He had reached the 2nd heaven of the king god realm. He only cultivated for 100 years and reached the 2nd layer of the king god realm. Lu Ming revealed a smile. He was very satisfied. 100 years passed in the blink of an eye for a king god realm warrior. It was too short. Ordinary king god realm warriors needed 10,000 years to break through 1 level. It could take hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, or even tens of millions of years. However, Lu Ming could break through 1 level in 100 years. Moreover, he cultivated 10 different kinds of divine power at the same time. This speed was already terrifying. Of course, it was related to his innate talent. He also needed the measure character formula to refine the energy of the stellar nucleus and the yin-yang millstone. That was why he could break through so fast. After breaking through to the 2nd king god realm, Lu Ming's fighting competence had increased by 1 level. Unfortunately, the origin of the divine power didn't increase. To break through to the 3rd king god realm from the 2nd king god realm, even with the help of the yin-yang millstone, I'm afraid it will take me at least 300 years. I'm not in a hurry. I should go to other places to cultivate, Lu Ming pondered. He waited here until Autumn Moon came out of the yin-yang millstone. Then he and Autumn Moon left this place and went to the next holy place to cultivate. The next holy place was the soul refining abyss. The soul refining abyss could train the soul. Moreover, they used to cultivate in the soul refining abyss for free because they were 10. In the following period of time, the 2 of them cultivated in the soul refining abyss to refine and cleanse their souls, making their souls stronger. The stronger the soul, the stronger the spiritual consciousness. If they met someone from the 9 Serenities Heavenly King Mansion who could affect the soul, their soul defense would be stronger. After cultivating in the soul refining abyss for a while, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon went to another holy place to cultivate, the Thousand Tribulation Tower. In the Thousand Tribulation Tower they could cultivate divine skills and secret techniques. Just like that, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon went back and forth between the holy places to cultivate. Other people had to pay a price to cultivate in these holy places. However, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon did not need to pay at all. They used these resources to improve themselves, enrich themselves and make themselves stronger. They were improving rapidly in all aspects. Soon they entered the Great Void Imperial Family's holy court. 300 years had passed. My origin divine power factor did not improve much. Only the primordial dragon energy has awakened it. Lu Ming pondered. Among the 10 types of divine powers that Lu Ming cultivated, only the Dominator's divine power had awakened the divine power of origin factor twice. The other 7 types of divine powers had awakened the divine power of origin factor once. There were also 2 types of divine powers that had not awakened the divine power of origin factor. After all these years of cultivation, the primordial dragon energy had finally awakened the origin divine power factor. Now, only the divine eye heavenly energy had not awakened the origin divine power factor. However, Lu Ming felt that it was too slow. He was eager to go to the Garden of Gods to cultivate. With my current battle strength, I should be able to get some points if I go to the Purgatory Arena. Lu Ming thought. After Autumn Moon finished her cultivation, he would tell Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon agreed readily. She also wanted to get some points and go to the Garden of Gods to cultivate. The Garden of Gods had such strict requirements. The effect would definitely be extraordinary. Lu Ming was full of expectations. Immediately, the 2 of them moved and went to the Purgatory Arena. Brother Lu Ming, Miss Autumn Moon. Lu Ming and the others were on the way to the Purgatory Arena when they heard someone calling them. Wish Chui Wei. Miss Chui Wei, what a coincidence. Lu Ming greeted with a smile. It is indeed a coincidence. Are you going to the Purgatory Arena? Chui Wei smiled. Yes, let's go to the Purgatory Arena and see if we can earn some Purgatory points to cultivate in the Garden of Gods. Lu Ming said. What a coincidence. I'm going to the Purgatory Arena too. Why don't we go together? Chui Wei said. That's great. Lu Ming nodded. Immediately, the three of them went to the Purgatory Arena. Soon, a few huge buildings appeared in front of them. These buildings all looked like arenas. There were a total of 3 of them, and they were all connected together. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.